Since a small field of 11 teed off in Newport, Rhode Island in 1895, the U.S. Golf Association has been conducting the National Championship of American Golf, the U.S. Open. Only 3 men have won the title 4 times in their careers. The first was Willie Anderson. Just after the turn of the century, he won 4 times in 5 years, then died at age 30. 4 times, Anderson won the Open, a record unchallenged until the roaring 20s. Then, this quiet man from Atlanta, Bobby Jones, won 4 times, retired at age 28. 4 times, Jones won the Open. It wouldn't happen again until after World War II. Then another quiet man from Texas, Ben Hogan, did it, winning 3 times after his terrible automobile crash. And now comes Jack Nicklaus of Ohio, striding the fairways of Baltusrol, seeking to join the most select company in golf, those who have won the Open 4 times. He makes the great effort today at age 40, tied for the lead with 18 holes yet to play. Anderson, Jones, Hogan, and Nicklaus will walk every step of the way with Jack today, and when day is done, we'll know the answer. ABC Sports presents a national championship conducted by the United States Golf Association. Today from the Baltusrol Golf Club in Springfield, New Jersey, it's the final round of the 80th United States Open Golf Championship. The Empire State Building sits immense and quiet in Midtown Manhattan. It's Sunday in New York in the summer, the big town's silent time. Many of its millions have fled for the weekend, although always the tourists are coming in to visit the Statue of Liberty and the other landmarks. It's always a great sight, New York. Up the Hudson lie the Sleepy Hollow country and Albany, the capital, and Hyde Park and the North Country. But always the eye comes back to Manhattan. Baghdad on the subway, O. Henry called it. Today, however, the people of New York in great numbers have streamed through the tunnels and over the bridge to New Jersey, headed for the Baltusrol Golf Club in Springfield for the final round of the 80th U.S. Open. They may see golf history, and so may you if Jack Nicklaus wins today. We'll be live with him for 4 hours, all 18 holes.
And it won't be long until Jack will be teeing off with his fellow competitor of the day, again Isao Aoki of Japan. The 2 men tied for the lead, 1 stroke ahead of Lon Hinkle, 2 ahead of Tom Watson, still trying for his first Open championship, and young Keith Fergus. Mark Hayes at 3 under par is 3 off the lead. Lee Trevino still a challenger at 2 under. Craig Stadler had a fine round yesterday. Hubert Green had 65 yesterday, a former champion. Ed Sneed has been just sneakily even all through this championship. Mike Morley had 69 yesterday, and Bill Rogers is a very good one. Temperature 82 degrees right now. The humidity 43%. The winds 12 miles per hour, not really a factor. The umbrella you see is shielding people from the sun, not from the rain. There's a forecast possibly of rain much later today. There are the pairings, Bruce Devlin and Bobby Watkins on the 4th hole right now, and you saw the others. Here's Keith Fergus and Mark Hayes on the 2nd hole. Tom Watson and Lon Hinkle now playing the 1st hole, and of course Nicklaus and Aoki on the 1st tee. They will be the last pair to tee off. There you see people around the practice putting green here at Baltusrol, which is playing host to the Open Championship for the 6th time. There is the man on the spot, Jack Nicklaus, at age 40. 13 years ago, he won the Open right on this golf course and set a record in the process. Dave Marr is sitting here with me. Let's compare the Nicklaus of today and 13 years ago, Dave.
Well, the obvious appearance here, Jim, that you compare is the size. Look how much weight Jack has lost. He's about 30 pounds lighter than he was then. But the similarity of golf swings, when we get to the top in our slow motion here in a second, you're going to see that he's so much the same. The only difference that I can pick up is on his follow-through, which is much more limber, which you are at the age of 27. Just watch the top now. So much the same there. Left heel very high off the ground, a distinctive Nicklaus trademark. And then to move through, if you watch the bottom part of his body, where he gets so much of his distance there, driving with his legs, hands pulled down into a hitting position. And now as he turns through the ball, you might notice, even though he was a little heavier in 67, he was also maybe a little more limber at that point, Jim. And remember, these are taken under tournament conditions. This isn't just out taking pictures.
Absolutely fascinating. Jack almost looks as if he was looking at it. Of course, he was not. He's got other things on his mind. Out on the course, Tom Watson has a problem on the 1st hole. That's why Jack is not able to tee off yet. Now, John Schroeder is with that pair. What's the problem, John?
Well, Jim, this is the things that you can win championships with. Tom Watson hit his first tee shot, blocked it to the right. It hit a tree fronting the hazard on the right side of the fairway and could have gone anywhere in the hazard, in the deep rough. It fell down to the right where he literally had no play at all, but there was an electric junction box that interfered with his swing, so now he's gotten relief from the instruction and dropped it perfect. Now he's got a very, very simple shot to shoot at the green.
Isn't that interesting? Something similar happened to Nicklaus yesterday. He hit the tree and came out nicely, but he didn't have the electrical junction box to help him out. Here is the situation right now, Dave.
It's a tough driving hole, Jim. You stand on the first tee on an elevated tee, and the dark line you see on your left represents a fence. So there's one place you do not want to go is to the left. If you miss it, you want to go to the right. And as John said, he did miss the little creek on the right side there.
Can he get home from there, the way you see it, Dave?
Oh, I think he can. John, about how long a shot does he have?
Oh, he's only got 200 yards to the flag, and it's you know, the wind's going to be right to left and helping slightly. It's just a question of how good a lie he's got, which when I saw him drop it, it was sitting. I mean, it looked like it was sitting right in the middle of the fairway.
It looks good on the picture there, John. It's easy for you to say, John, 200 yards and he can get there. All right.
Not for me. I'm not in contention.
John Schroeder, of course, a well-known player on the American Golf Tour, son of one of the best American tennis players of all time, Ted Schroeder. And there, Tom Watson of Kansas City, Missouri. Remember, he's never won the U.S. Open. A couple times this weekend, he appeared to be out of it. Each time he would rally. He came back with a birdie and an eagle on Friday on the 17th and 18th hole. Yesterday, put together 4 birdies in a row. Shot 67 to get into contention. Look at that. He's only 2 shots off the lead.
Well, he got off to a shaky start yesterday with a couple of 3-putts through the 6th hole, and he didn't know what was going to happen and birdied 5 out of the next 6 holes. And that just shows you got to keep trying in the Open, or any tournament, actually. Anytime you play golf, you do not know when old momentum may change and go your way.
See him selecting the club. What do you think it might be, John, the club?
I'd bet it's a 3 or 4 iron.
Okay.
Hit a low shot, way to the right.
He didn't like it from his facial expression there.
No.
John, he must have hit the same kind of shot that he hit off the tee then.
Looks, from what we can see, like it's in the long rough. Either there or in the bunker. I suspect the long rough on the right-hand side. It is in the rough. That's the definite word from spotters on the fairway. So Watson did not get away with it. Now here's Lon Hinkle.
Here's a man we haven't said too much about, Jim, but he can really play, this Lon Hinkle. He's very strong. He makes a lot of birdies. Be a good partner for you sometime.
That's right. 6'2", 215.
He's hitting a 6 iron, David.
Thank you, John.
Good looking shot.
Looked like a good swing, too.
Nice, easy swing.
Oh,
gorgeous
shot.
Nice start for Lon Hinkle in his pursuit of the U.S. Open Championship. Just a few moments ago, Lee Trevino on the 3rd green, he had birdied the 2nd hole to go 2 under for the championship. This for a birdie again.
Now that's that little shot that Lee does so well. Look at this. Well, he takes the sand iron and rolls the ball with the front edge of the sand iron because he was right against the tall fringe.
But he's already had 1 birdie, the beautiful little chip shot there. Lee Trevino moving up to 2 under par, 4 strokes out of the lead.
Of the 4th round. The referee for this group is Will F. Nicholson, Jr., President of the United States Golf Association from Denver, Colorado. The observer is Stuart Lawson, Captain of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews, Scotland. The players are Jack Nicklaus of Dublin, Ohio, and Isao Aoki of Tokyo, Japan.
So the drama begins. Nicklaus and Aoki head-to-head, up ahead.
Nicklaus has the honor. Play away, please.
Up ahead, Hinkle and Watson and Trevino and the others, looking for number 4.
Just like yesterday, a little glance at the flag that's over by the pro shop just to check the wind, to get some idea of which way it may be blowing. Wind really hasn't been a big factor in this tournament. It's been very mild for the first 3 days.
Guess that tells you.
That looked just like the swings we saw a minute ago, just down the heart of the fairway.
Take that, says Jack, off the first tee. Up by the green, Tom Watson with his third shot on this par 4 hole.
Difficult shot there, Jim, coming out of the tall rough, and the green goes away from you there. The first hole is really one that is controlled a lot by the mountain here. It really is fast from the front of the green to the back.
37-year-old Isao Aoki of Japan, former world match play champion. Rossi?
Ball looks to be to the right and was sort of a pop fly.
Oh, yes, there it is. We see it in the rough.
Oh, he's
Missed
almost
the
in that little
hazard.
creek there, Rossi.
Just missed the hazard, but in the rough.
Is that a white line or not, Dave? There's
I don't believe
some
that's a white
indication.
line.
I wouldn't
That's
think
that
so.
creek on the right there.
More the border of the hazard, perhaps.
Right.
There's a little creek there. Well, let's stand by. There's so much more to come at the U.S. Open. Back again at the U.S. Open, I'm Jim McKay with Dave Marr, former PGA champion, a man who finished in the top 10 when the U.S. Open was last held here in 1967. Dave, it really is difficult to say on whom the most pressure is falling today because it's a different kind of pressure on different golfers.
Well, there's plenty of pressure on all of them, that's for sure. Nicklaus going for his 4th Open, which would put him, as you pointed out earlier, among the ranks of the, he already is among the ranks of the all-time great players, but what a thing to do to win your 4th Open. Tom Watson, who is trying so hard to win his first Open, I think put a lot of pressure on himself. Aoki, who we don't know too much about in this country, but is a worldwide famous player, a very good player, strangely enough, has not won his own Open in Japan.
Yeah.
Lost last year in the playoff. Would be very exciting if he won the tournament, and it'd be a national hero. Lon Hinkle has not yet won a major tournament. I think a very good, strong player. There's pressure on all of them, Jim, different kinds of pressure.
Perhaps if you had to pick one man on whom the most pressure is, it's Nicklaus. He is 40 years old now. It's not like 13 years ago when he was 27. Tom Watson bogeyed this first hole just a minute ago. Lon Hinkle got his par. Nicklaus with the second shot on this long par 4. Jack, deliberate as always, taking his time.
Rossi, is that a little to the right?
To the right, but it catches the edge of the green, 30, 40,
Yeah, we
50
see.
feet from the hole.
Okay, thank you.
Aoki has an awful lie. He just has to play it out. He's already played.
Yep, there it is.
It was a kind of shot, Jim, that if he went at it any harder than he did, it just could go anywhere.
So he took caution, the better course at this point, certainly on the first of the last 18 holes of the U.S. Open. Aoki, remember, and Nicklaus tied for the lead at this point. Now we're going to move up to the 4th tee, the famous par 3 hole here, being played back today at 194 yards. Boy, it's tough from there.
It's a marvelous golf hole, Jim, as Lee's probably doing one of his little bits there, or maybe he's not quite ready to play. But when they do play the back tee, they put the flag a little deeper into the green, which makes it a eminently fair golf hole. You wouldn't put the flag very close to the lake and then play the back tee.
Lee Trevino, who 13 years ago came here, totally unknown, finished 5th, and the next year won the Open.
Just in case you don't think he can hook the ball, he just played a little draw in there with an absolutely marvelous shot.
Whew. Lee Trevino making the first news of the day out here. He's at 2 under, 4 off the lead.
And he's still not out of it.
Oh, no. Now Aoki tied for the lead, but in trouble on the first hole. This will be his 3rd shot on the par 4. In the rough with his first, almost into the creek. He was fortunate in that sense. Didn't go into the hazard.
I would think it'd be very difficult to get this shot very close to the hole. Yeah.
Difficult.
Nice going, Dave.
Possible.
Good, David.
A marvelous shot.
Okay, just beautiful, and he'll have that for a par, and he makes those almost all the time, as you'll see.
And so the 4th and final round of this year's Open Championship. And what a championship it's been so far. If we get as many thrills today as we've had over the 3 previous days, well, I don't know whether my old constitution can stand it. Records are being broken all the way along the line. The 54 hole total has been beaten by Jack Nicklaus and Aoki from Japan. Will they go on to beat the 4-round total? Well, only the next few hours will tell. But for me, it really is a cliffhanger. Marvellous stuff. Will Jack Nicklaus win his 18th major title? Wouldn't that really be something? On 1980 on his 40th birthday, or virtually his 40th birthday. Well, with us was Frank Hannigan, the Assistant Director of the United States Golf Association. Frank will be with us talking and explaining the rules of the game if we have any problems, and of course telling us some folklore about the championship. But Frank, it's interesting to many people how Aoki, this extraordinarily talented Oriental gentleman, happens to be with us.
Yes, Peter. 2 years ago, the USGA made a very purposeful move in the direction of international representation. And so now we have a condition that provides that the leaders on 5 foreign tours throughout the world are invited every year to participate in the U.S. Open Championship. Aoki was the leader in Japan in 1979.
So, well, now, what happens if there's a playoff?
We will play 18 holes tomorrow, not believing that a major championship should be settled by a sudden death playoff.
Well, because years ago, many years ago, they used to have things like 72-hole playoffs and then 36-hole playoffs and the like.
Yeah, but we're not that torturous. It'll be 18 holes tomorrow, however.
Well, we'll be here for all of those 18 holes, and now back to live golf.
Okay, a word from Peter Allison. You'll be hearing much more of him today with Frank Hannigan. Now we have the second fairway, Lon Hinkle. 1 shot off the lead. Ooh, we didn't like that.
You can tell from a player's expression, it's got to be to the right. Looks like right of the flag. He may not have liked it too much, but a lot of people would love that shot.
That's not all that bad. Now Nicklaus on the first green. He had a fine tee shot. Not quite as good a second shot. Left it on the right side of the green, as you can see, a long way from the hole, but on the putting surface.
All right, let's see what he does today, Jim. Yesterday, his lag putt at the first hole was well short of the hole. He made a good one coming back for his par. Just see how nervous or how calm he is right now. Good speed. Good speed.
Good deal closer than he was yesterday, as you pointed out.
Well, he started out yesterday putting well, and then he finished just didn't really hit very many good putts the last few holes, and the good ones he did hit didn't go in.
Again, the leaders. See Fergus, remember him? He's in it.
Yes,
Lee
sir.
Trevino beginning to move. And the others there. Hale Irwin, the defending champion, at +2. Rogers and Pat McGowan, who's played very well.
Bill Rogers, who figured to play well here, very fine player. And anytime you need to keep it in the fairway, Bill Rogers is your man to choose.
This man took 27 putts in his first round, 23 putts in his second round, 31 putts in his third round.
Had an off day yesterday.
Yes. One of the great putters in the world, and several people have commented that from 50 yards in, there's nobody who can touch him.
Well, anytime you go around a course like Baltusrol in 204 or 68 each round, and he's been playing with Nicklaus, this is the 4th day in a row that he's played with Jack. So if you wonder if he can play, he most certainly can.
Incidentally, if either of them shoots an even par round of 70 today, they will break the Open record for 72 holes. There it is. It's just so automatic. And anybody who breaks the Open record, by the way, for 72 holes gets a special prize of $50,000 offered by a golf magazine. How about that?
That would be a nice little bonus to pick up. But the championship is what you want to win. You'll make the money if you do that.
It's so true, particularly of this championship. Lee Trevino.
For his birdie at the 4th hole.
Yep.
If he gets off to a quick start, look out.
He has 1 birdie already.
Nicklaus first par, the first.
Yep. Nicklaus on the right. Trevino missing the birdie. He has just the tap in for the par. Nicklaus making sure of his par, so they both par. Trevino on 4 and Nicklaus on the first hole.
I've seen Lee do that so much in the last couple of years, Jim. He is just playing so well, and he gets the ball close to the hole, and he just does not want to go in.
Now Keith Fergus. Let's have a look at him.
That'll be his 3rd shot at number 3, Jim.
So he has a problem.
Tough little pitch across that bunker there.
2 shots out of the lead. Finished 9th in his first Open last year. And he's left that way short, as you see. So he has that long, long effort for any possible par here. Just a moment ago, Tom Watson on the second fairway. He bogeyed the first hole, remember, to lose a stroke to the leaders.
Oh, man.
Did that hit the stick, John?
I don't think it did, Jim.
Yeah. Looked like it could have.
Just had a lot of spin on it. And, well, that's what makes champions. You know, he gets off to a bad start. He comes right back at the second hole and almost knocks the flag down. This will be pretty fast, Jim. He's putting with the hill there. Not maybe as fast as Lon thought it was. Well, they got a lot more out of it than it looked like he was going to get. Good putt.
Idea just how fast they are. Now Jack Nicklaus on the second tee using an iron.
The reason he's using an iron is 377 yards long. There's a bunker down just to the right of the fairway that you want to stay short of. You don't want to take a club that'll get you into that. Not a hole that requires length as much as it requires accuracy.
Okay. Hinkle made his par, remaining a shot off the lead. There you see how they come out from that tee and how the bunker sits. Here it is.
And again, out of bounds on the left. For those of you that might think, well, why didn't he take a driver and drive it way up there? I just don't think there's much percentage in doing that. Don't believe Aoki would be using a driver. It's probably a 4-wood or a 3-wood.
He's cut it right in the middle of the fairway, David. Beautiful shot.
Isao Aoki of Japan. There they are. Just about the same distance from the hole for their second shot. Now Watson for a birdie, and he's got it. Got right back the stroke that he had lost on the first hole.
How often have you seen good players do that, Jim?
The great players do it, that's for sure. And there is Tom Watson of Kansas City. Can he win the Open? Can any of those leaders? We'll see.
Here's Aoki's second shot, second hole.
About 160 yards. Probably a 6-iron. Nice shot right in the middle of the green, a little short of the flag.
So the rather ungainly looking Aoki on the green in 2. Now Jack Nicklaus. See how the rolling ground here, which is a feature of so many of these holes, you just see the top of the flag. That's the golfer's view of the second green.
Beautiful looking shot right on the flag.
Well, a superb shot for Nicklaus, and of course it's important for all these players that are in contention to get away to a good start. It just settles the nerves. Trevino at the 5th. Trevino, who has hit the ball majestically for a considerable amount of time now. One of the true artists of the game, always thinking and maneuvering the ball, controlling it, flighting it. Great skill. Safely on. Because we're getting right down to the last few holes now, and it's not necessarily the great shots that win championships now. It's silly ones that lose it for you. How about that for a fine-looking green and view of the 4th from the back tee today? 194 yards, pin back left, and the ideal shot really is to aim at the middle of the green and try and work it from right to left. Mustn't miss the green left. It's Mark Hayes. And he has committed the unpardonable sin.
Oh, it's way over the crowd, Peter, way up into the walk.
It's Bill Fleming who's following this match, and you can see the green there surrounded by spectators, and that really is just what he did not want to do. There's a mile of green on the right, Okay, you can still be a long way away and maybe 3 putts, but you've got no hope, really, or very little, of getting down in 2 from out of those trees on the left of this 4th hole. Marquez playing with Keith Fergus, who dropped a stroke at the last hole. Both Fergus and Hayes now 3 under.
Peter, Hayes almost hit it out of bounds on the first hole, so he's having problems holding that ball in a straight line. It's getting a vicious hook to it, like this last one.
That's Fergus's tee shot on its way, and that looks to be... He's trying to get right at the flag and succeeds majestically. Very brave, splendid shot from Fergus. Chance for a 2. Crowds have been rolling up here since 8:30 this morning. There were many hundreds of people round the greens early on. Here's Tom Watson, recorded moments ago. And how about that? Second shot to the 3rd. Chance for a birdie. The 3rd hole has created quite a few problems here during the week. Not a long hole. There you see it. Nicklaus and Aoki at 6 under. Now a long putt for Aoki at the 2nd. Oh, look at that speed up, though. That looked as if it had almost stopped at the hole, and he's gone 5.5 feet past. Now, this is the fascination, I think, of golf, and particularly at this level. See, Jack has a putt. Well, almost, he may be inside Aoki. Jack's got a putt for a 3. Aoki has what you see there for a par 4. So many permutations, so many things can happen. This was Lon Hinkle. Second shot at the 3rd, and just look at that one. Hinkle, of course, very powerful player. And it looks as if, yes, Aoki playing his 4th before Jack plays his 3rd. Now, what a crucial putt for this man. Must be nearly 10 feet.
Greens, of course, are very fast, Peter. They're cut, very precisely at 9/64ths of an inch, and cut, as a matter of fact, twice each morning.
Well, let's see how Trevino can negotiate this putt at the 5th. Looky. Oh, it didn't turn. He thought it would. It didn't, but beautifully judged. Aoki for a 4 for his par 4 at the 2nd. Well, he had to miss one, surely, sooner or later. And that's a 5. 1 stroke drop to par. He goes into a tie with Lon Hinkle at 5 under. Now can Jack hole his and move 2 ahead of the field. Best round so far, Mark lies in with a 69. Few 70s, Dave Stockton, former PGA champion, Jack Newton from Australia, who's playing so well this year, George Burns and Calvin Peete, all in with 70s. This is Nicklaus for a 3 at the 2nd, a birdie 3. This for a 2-stroke lead. Look at the curl on that one. Well, they're all crucial ones now, but my word, what a difference it would have made to him mentally if that had gone in. Of course, Jack immensely strong mentally on the golf course. He's managed to keep his nerve going well, and not been easy for him playing with Aoki over the 4 days of this championship. Here's Hinkle for a birdie at the third hole, and that was never really on line. Nicklaus for his par at second. Got it in. Hinkle made his par. And when I say not easy for Jack to play with Aoki, it's always difficult, I think, to play with someone who doesn't look very convincing. And Aoki, I'm not being unkind to him in any shape or form, but he does not look convincing. And it's sometimes very disconcerting if you keep watching a player who doesn't look as if he's playing well, but you keep adding up the score and he keeps doing 68, and it's the classic old saying, it's not how, it's how many. And Nicklaus has to contend with that, and Watson has to contend with this. Chance for a birdie. Here he goes, the greatest player in the world today. Just over borrowed. The swing came just a touch too late, but a safe par for Tom Watson. That's in. And so the opening hole's over, the tension building, in the 80th US Open.
Again today we're going to be hearing periodic messages from the United States Golf Association, some of which will be narrated for us by the noted author, chronicler of America, and television host, Alistair Cook. In fact, here's Mr. Cook right now.
100 years ago, this was rambling farmland. Then it was made into a rudimentary golf course, and then into a good one. Whenever a course is good enough to be chosen for a USGA event, the Opens, Walker Cup, whatever, the USGA alerts its green section, sends a team of agronomists down, and they spend a year or more bringing it to its finest possible condition. And they can do a lot for your golf course. If you're in trouble, you have sluggish greens, weeds, burnt-out grasses. They'll send a man down, an agronomist, and he'll look things over, and he'll tell you what to do. And like every other USGA staff member, he has no axe to grind. He's not selling anything. He just wants you to play golf under the best possible conditions. If you're happy, he's happy.
This message was furnished by the United States Golf Association.
Lee Trevino walking the fairways of Baltusrol, where he first came to prominence 13 years ago. Jack Nicklaus leading the tournament, though, by a single stroke over Isao Aoki and Lon Hinkle. Mentioned that 13 years ago, Lee came here totally unknown out of Texas. His wife submitted his entry. He wasn't even going to come on his own. Recently, we asked him to kind of recall those days and what it was like and where he stayed and all that business. Let's check in with that now.
Well, after arriving at Newark Airport, I still didn't know where Springfield, New Jersey was at. And I went out and I got my golf bag and my little suitcase and what stuff I had, and I said, you know, where's Baltusrol? And the gentleman, the taxi cab driver, says to me, Baltusrol. And I said, yes, I need to go to Springfield, New Jersey. I said, is there any motels out there, any place close where a man can stay? And he said, well, there's quite a few motels on Highway 22 in Springfield. So I took him for his word, and we jumped in the cab, and he brought me here. And the first hotel that we showed up at was actually the Union Motor Lodge, and we drove right in here, and I got the second room up here on the right, and you know, I got in probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that evening we started getting a little hungry around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I said, well, I think it's time to go to dinner. So I put on my pair of slacks, my golf shirt, and I went down into the lobby, and I asked them where the restaurant was at, and as you can see, it's just across the parkway there. And they stopped me at the door, and inside the restaurant they have a sign there saying jackets required. Well, I didn't own a jacket, so I had to go someplace to eat. So I asked the gentleman behind the desk, I said, is there any restaurants around here? And they didn't have at the time the fast food restaurants that they have around now. This is 13 years later. But they said that there was a Chinese restaurant just down the road here on Highway 22. and that's where I had my meals every evening. Coming here again, I think the biggest thing that I missed is Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith was the owner of Central Cadillac here in New Jersey. And when I got with Chuck Smith, he picked me up at the hotel. Would take me home every evening. And we used to sit up on the balcony there and drink beer. And I think probably the most enjoyable thing about it is I sat there every day after I finished, and not one person ever asked me for my autograph. The memories are great. I hope that I can finish as high as I did in '67. If not, just coming back, visiting Balderstraw, seeing all my old friends, drinking a few beers. And I know Chuck Smith's watching, so what can I say? I hope come Sunday, I'll be able to take all the money back to Texas.
What a guy. Lee Trevino recalling his visit here 13 years ago. Isao Aoki now.
What a
one
career,
shot out of the lead.
13 years.
Yep, yep. That's right. You can hear the birds are singing, but what of the birdies? They're a little more difficult to come by.
Oh, good shot.
Yeah.
It's got to be Nicklaus's ball there.
The other one inside. Yeah, let's see how that ball got there. The one that's inside Aoki. Here's Jack, who hit first. So it was, and almost right at the flagstick. Jack Nicklaus in birdie territory. He has a one-stroke lead in the tournament right now. Now look at the fourth hole. There it is with its lake in front and at the leaders. So you said it's set in your mind. Aoki and Hinkle tied for second, one shot back. Then Watson and Fergus, 2 shots back. Lee Trevino, you know, he said he hoped he could finish as high as fifth where he did 13 years ago. Well, he's in 6th place right now. Of course, he's got his eye on first, you know that. Here's Tom Watson. Let's have a look at the tee shot of Tom Watson. He's walking towards the 4th green now. This was the shot that put him there.
Good pin position today, Jim. Left-hand back corner there.
Okay, Watson on the 4th hole, where a great gallery has been gathered, as I think Peter mentioned, since early this morning, 9 o'clock this morning. They were out there nailing down their seats in the bleachers, which are all over the golf course. They've done a great job with that. I think it's some 8,500 seats are available. There you see people in some of them. It's a great way to watch golf.
That's good, too. That's something there I would like to see a little more of, because people do seem to pick a favorite hole and sit all day and watch till all the players come through.
You know, we try not to be complimenting everybody in sight, because I think then it doesn't mean as much when you do. But the people here at Baltusrol, I think, have been as nice or nicer to us than any place we've been, from Chuck Simpson, the general chairman, right on down.
And Bob Ross, the professional, it might be the best club professional in the country. Boy, his pro shop is doing a little bit of business this week.
Mr. Flaherty, the course superintendent, too. Joe Flaherty.
Jim, the 4th hole is, in fact, where Trent Jones did make an ace when they were talking about that it was an unfair hole. And during a casual round of golf, I talked to Johnny Farrell this morning, who was playing with him, and he did take a little 4-iron and knock it right in the hole and said, well, it doesn't seem to be too hard.
I would say Johnny Farrell, former pro here for many years, former U.S. Open champion, is a pretty good witness.
Yes, sir.
Lee Trevino now. Trevino.
6th hole.
On the 6th hole.
Long par 4. Good hole. 470.
There's the putt. 4 behind the leader, as you see. The leader being Jack Nicklaus. Arnold Palmer, who battled down the stretch with Jack Nicklaus 13 years ago, was here and is here and made the cut, but had a 77 yesterday. And today he came in with 78. Total of 301 for Palmer. Trevino made his par there, by the way, to remain 4 behind the lead.
He's missed a couple of putts where he really got the ball close to the hole. If he's going to make a charge, you got to make those.
Aoki. par for Isao Aoki, age 37, of Yokohama, Japan. He came up through the caddy shack, as so many great golfers of all times have. His wife is here. They were just married in April of this year. She's following him in the gallery. Watson's second shot. He was just off the green, as you can see, on this par 3 hole.
It's a good little shot there, Jim. Very well played.
Now Jack for the birdie.
Well, if he's going to get going, can't waste the good shots after you've knocked it up there, as he did it too.
He's on the 3rd hole. All right. That was what the late Henry Longhurst used to call the tradesman's entrance. Now, you know, it doesn't count as the tradesman's entrance if it goes in the side. Only if it goes in the back. And a birdie for Jack Nicklaus. He's 7 under. Keith Fergus now on the 5th hole. Second shot on the par 4.
Good swing. Good looking swing anyhow. Don't know where the shot's going to go, and it's going to go just marvelous.
And he's coming right off of a very fine birdie, Dave, at 4th hole, so he may just get things going.
Well, he sure can. Bill, one thing I like about Keith, you know, he's a big, strong young man, good swing, but he's got a beautiful rhythm when he plays. And just playing today, he doesn't look as though he's really excited. I'm sure he is inside, but he's kept his rhythm, which is so important when you play.
Fergus bogeyed 3, birdied 4. Hinkle now tied for 2nd with Aoki. 2 shots now behind Nicklaus.
That's sort of the way he started yesterday, Jim. He knocked the ball very close to the hole and didn't make anything starting out.
And that was a bogey to drop him to 3rd place, a tie with Tom Watson and Keith Fergus. So it's now Nicklaus and Aoki again in front. Watson with this needed for the par on the par 3, 4th hole. He won 5 tournaments in 1978, 5 tournaments in 1979. He's already won 5 this year, but he has never won the Open. He's got his par, and he's still 3 shots behind Jack Nicklaus, 4 under par for the championship, even on today's round. Tom Watson. There you see it. Nicklaus of Ohio, Aoki of Japan, Watson of Kansas City. They come from everywhere.
Well, golf is played over most of the world, Jim, or certainly a lot of the free world, and especially in Japan, where Aoki is the Nicklaus, let's say, or the Watson, whatever you'd like to choose as your number 1. He's as famous as any of them in his own country.
Now Nicklaus will have his crack at the famous 4th hole. From the back tees today, we remind you, maybe you just joined us, 194 yards across the water and across the rock wall in front.
I know because of the crowd that our man Bob Rosberg cannot get close to there, but if Bob can hear me, he's probably moving to the 5th hole. Would you guess at what club they might be using, Bob?
David, it looks like they're playing it with about a 3-iron today. There's no wind at all. It's very, very still down here, but the ball really isn't going quite as far today as it went yesterday. I believe the air is a little heavier.
Seems more humid. As we said, still a prediction of possible thunderstorms late in the day, but right now the sky is still very clear. Nice hot summer day.
All right, Jack.
Hear the New York accents of the crowd. All right, Jack.
Well, you might hit the back bunker.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. Well, he's put it in the sand of New Jersey, a state famous for its sand, and so is Baltusrol.
Well, it looked like a good swing, but just must have been the wrong club. That's the bunker over the green.
You know, up here at 18, interestingly, Rossi said it's still very still down at 4, but It's beginning to gust up just a bit at 18, and it could be that up in the air there's more of a breeze than they realize on the tee. Aoki. Left. It's going left.
Over where Marquez was.
Yeah. Yep. And so the two leaders shake just a bit on the fourth hole. Keith Fergus made his par on the fifth hole. So Fergus remains at 4 under. We'll be with him all the way at Baltusrol, live.
And that's the position. Jack Nicklaus, well, at this moment, if not striding out, certainly going along smoothly. 2 strokes ahead of Aoki from Japan. Many good players creaking out behind. Ed Sneed out in 32. That's 2 under par. Par here is 70, 34, 36. And not very many good scores have come today. Mark Lyes 69, still the best score, and a few par 70s. Now there's Aoki's ball, stopped by the crowd. I don't think anyone's injured. It doesn't look to be lying too badly, but he's still faced with a very tricky shot indeed. As Frank Hannigan was saying, the greens are very short, cut very tight. Now here's a good view of this man's swing. You see, if somebody came to you for a lesson and said, I'm not chipping very well, you'd have to really work on this takeaway. It's just a little pick up and a wristy flick, but, well... well, perhaps a shade lucky, perhaps a shade unlucky, but whatever, he played that from a bearish lie, and he's got a putt for a 3. Doesn't waste much time either. Now Jack Nicklaus has gone through the green, has trickled into that bunker. Now he's got a delicate one. He's got some idea the pace of the greens. Thighs are beautiful, but Jack knows it might be a lot more beautiful. Might have been a lot more beautiful than that. It's difficult down the hill, but you see he's gone 12, 14 feet past the hole. Tom Watson at the 5th. Watson 4 under. Up to this elevated green, the flag, front right, awkward position. Going back away from the hole, still moving. Back to the 4th. Nicklaus surveying his 3rd shot. Come what may, you always get the feeling that Jack gives it everything he possibly can. Some players rather tend to give up or look a bit nonchalant, not Mr. Nicklaus or Mr. Gary Player, who's sadly not here. Player, one of the world's greatest players, did not qualify for the final 2 rounds, but he's another classic case of someone who never stops trying. Well, there'll be a mighty cheer if this goes in, and if you're going to win championships, of course, these are the sort of length putts you've got to hold. Everything goes still from this vast crowd looking down on the 4th green. Nicklaus for a par 3. Good effort, but it's a 4, so nearly a fine tee shot, just a little too strong. Jack just a little bit unsettled. He's taking his time, not taking any chances. So Jack drops the stroke. Keith Fergus off the fairway. Bill Fleming's following them on the 6th. Let's hear from Bill Fleming.
Well, as you can see, he has a very difficult shot of about 240 yards, Peter. If he gets home with this one against the wind and where he was, that's some shot.
He's just short in the rough, Bill, but obviously he was a long way back and left with a very difficult little pitch. Now, Tom Watson putting at the 5th. You see his ball, in fact, rolled back off the putting surface. Third shot up the hill, long, long, long putt. And what a fine judgment. Looking very relaxed. Now, Aoki. Well, if he holds this, won't it be a 3? My word. And this is what I was saying about a difficult man to play with. Aoki is a giant, remember, in the world of golf. Perhaps not so many of you have heard of him here, but believe me, he is. He looks an unconvincing player, but he gets the job done quite brilliantly. And it's difficult to play with him because, you know, you think to yourself, well, I'm hitting the ball better, I'm getting near, and yet he keeps beating me. Watson on the left for a par at the 5th. Aoki for a par on the 4th. Both just over borrowed, Nicklaus and Aoki, and the 4th takes its toll, but Nicklaus remains ahead. Defending champion Hale Irwin out in 33. That's Lon Hinkle holing out. Hinkle 4 under. Hale Irwin in fact out in 33 and drops the stroke at the 11th. He's 3 over for the championship, the defending champion. Isn't that a fine view? Marvellous looking hole. Now Keith Fergus up on the 6th, this very awkward little pitch over the edge of the bunker. They played it well. Not an easy shot. Did well. Jack Nicklaus. Tee shot at the 5th. Yeah, fine shot. This is Tom Weiskopf on the 18th. And it's been that sort of day for Tom after that startling first round. 63, Weiskopf fades away. Sadly, he's out in 40. Finishes the championship 9 over. But back to the leaders. This is Aoki. 4 players now at 4 under.
It's a perfect drive, Peter.
He's creeping up just behind Nicklaus, and that's what they're playing to. And we'll be here watching all the golf all day.
Back again at Baltusrol. Jim McKay with Dave Marr now reporting on Isao Aoki. Final round, United States Open, all 18 holes live. Jack Nicklaus started the day tied for the lead. He now has a 2-stroke lead over this man and 3 others, Tom Watson, Lon Hinkle, and Keith Fergus. You see it?
Beautiful shot, right on the flag.
You're right about that, Bob Rosberg. That's Bob Rosberg out on the fairways with this final pair. This was Keith Fergus needing this for a par just before he came back.
After a bad drive and a good pitch, and hello.
Good afternoon. So Fergus hangs in there at 4 under par for the championship. Even par in today's round, 2 strokes off the lead. 2 strokes further back than the 4 in second place. We have Lee Trevino and Mark Hayes at 2 under.
Rossi, about how long a shot does Jack have there?
145 yards, David.
Looked like Aoki punched the ball a little bit there. Did he play a low punch? And
Looked like he took a 6-iron and knocked it down. I don't know whether Jack has a 6 or 7, but we'll see as soon as he takes a swing at it. He's going to have to hit a 7 hard.
Looks like he's choked down on the club a little bit. You can see some of the shaft above his left hand there.
That's a little punch shot. And this is right at it.
Okay, draws back on Jack a bit, but good shot.
Well, that's the difficult part about the 5th hole, Jim. That green, if you hit in a certain spot there where it's just hitting into the hill, it won't pitch forward like Aoki did.
388-yard par 4, not particularly long by Baltusrol standards. There you see it. Nicklaus by 2. And the 4-way tie, and then Trevino.
How are you, Bob Rosberg? Nice to see you. Nice to have you with us.
Must have occurred to Jack Nicklaus as he started out today to think about 13 years ago. As a matter of fact, a while ago, he sat down with Dave Marr and recalled that time when he won the championship here, set the U.S. Open record. Why don't we hear what he had to say?
Jack, talking about Baltusrol, here you are at the 4th tee in the last round. Now, you just birdied the 3rd hole.
Well,
playing with or on it?
I don't really remember much about it. I don't have a clue where the shot went, but I guess I'm going to find out.
Where is it? Not too bad.
No, I guess it's not too bad, is it?
That helps you putting a little bit when you knock it that close.
Let's see, did I make this putt? I don't remember. Yep. Oh, that was the time of old White Fang.
Yes. I was wondering if you were going to notice that.
That's what I got hanging over my waistband there.
All right, here at the 5th hole now.
I mean, another one?
Oh, huh. Just
Did
one
I
of those
birdie
days.
5 too?
Yes, you did. You got a bunch more coming up.
Oh, my gosh. I must have made some bogeys.
This is the 7th hole. Whoops.
The same round?
Same round. This is not a highlight film.
Hey, wait a minute.
You might want to check that stroke.
Don't tell me I'm going to make another one.
All right. Yeah, here you are at 13.
Oh, my gosh, Dave. No wonder. Now I know what my shortcomings are. I'm wasting all my time on my short game. I better start working on my putting.
All right, here we are at 14. Of course, you were knocking the ball close to the hole, too. I mean, those aren't necessarily long putts.
No, those were brutal. I remember at 13 and 14, I knocked it very close on those two.
Man, you just missed one at 11. It was fairly short. Of course, this is at 18, and this, if you make...
22 feet.
Would be a new open record.
A little right to left.
For 72 holes, and there it is. A little bit happy. For man, it's not too emotional. There's a lot of teeth showing there.
Jack Nicklaus recalling 13 years ago when he set the record for the U.S. Open, which still stands, was equaled by Lee Trevino the next year. If Nicklaus shoots even par today, he will break that record by a single stroke. Well, he birdied 3, 4, and 5 13 years ago in the last round. Today, he birdied 3, but he bogeyed 4. And now
but he has a
5.
very makeable putt here at 5, Jim. And he really didn't remember that he made 8 birdies in the last round, which is a lot. That's a lot of birdies for a week in a U.S. Open.
Surprising to me how he didn't remember most of those birdies. Don't you usually remember almost every shot you played in a major championship?
Well, I do, because I only have 1 to remember.
Yeah, and he's got 17 victories in major championships. Checking it out again.
Well, even though Aoki is a little closer, a little nearer the pin, I think Jack has a little bit of the easiest putt here because he's putting up the hill and it should have a right to left break. Kind of putt you'd like to have. Watson on the left for a birdie, just ahead of them at the 6th hole.
You heard the reaction on that one. There's Tom. Now Jack. At it.
It's going to break.
Okay. Should tap that in for the par 4 that will keep in at 6 under for the championship. Even par on today's round. One hole closer to the end of the 1980 U.S. Open. 13 to go.
He really hasn't missed a shot yet. He may have picked the wrong club at the 4th hole, but it looks as though he's hit every shot so far about like he wanted to. Very near the hole at 3, 4, of course, over the green, and a fine bunker shot.
If Aoki can make this putt, he will move out of that quadruple tie for 2nd and will creep 1 shot closer to Jack and only be 1 out of the lead. Aoki here is a great match player. He won the World Team Match Play 2 years ago. He lost it in the final to Bill Rogers last year. Lon Hinkle will have to make this to save a par on the 6th hole on the left of your screen. So Aoki's a great match player, and the way things have worked out, first by the pairings for the first 2 rounds, then by the way they finished each day, in essence, he is playing head-to-head with Jack Nicklaus for 4 days.
Bogey for Lon.
Yep. Bogey for Hinkle. That'll drop him to 3 under for the tournament. In other words, they've been playing match play in a way.
So to speak, and it's going to get to that if they stay close. Of course, the last few holes, in a way, become sort of like match play if it's just these 2 that are left. Of course, with Watson just ahead, you can't be just looking at this one man. You've got your hands full just playing the golf course. This ball should move a little from his left to right. You can just see it under his chin there. And he's missed a couple of short putts so far. That looks a little to the right.
Yeah. So he missed a good opportunity for a birdie there. Taps it in rather casually. And where's the magic touch that he's had for 3 days on the putting green? Plenty of time for it yet.
That's for sure. He finished strong yesterday. And Tom Watson made par at the 6th hole. But you got to make some of those to get started, to get your touch going. You begin to, little gremlins start to play in your mind, Jim, when the ball's not going in the hole.
Well, I've asked you a number of times in the years going by in the last day, what's wrong with so-and-so, and you say very simply, U.S. Open.
That'll do.
Here's the 6th hole.
Teeing area that you see. It's a long hole, 470. You've got to drive in the fairway, obviously, or you can't reach the green. Bunker on each side of the green. The main thing about number 6 is its length, and I believe it's probably playing against the wind if it's anything at number 6 like it is here at 18. Rossi, is it a little against the wind today, or is there much wind out there?
To blow, David. It is starting to blow, and this hole is playing right into the wind. You've got to drive the ball in the fairway here, and then it's going to take a 1 or 2 iron or possibly a wood to get home.
Okay, well, we felt the wind first up here because we're higher up here near the clubhouse. But up in the air, where the ball goes, there's plenty of it.
Yes.
There he is. Ball.
Rossi.
That ball's in the left-hand rough, David.
And a tall rough, too, looks like.
Now Watson up ahead on the 7th tee, the 7th hole, 470-yard par 4.
Good-looking drive, right down the right center of the fairway.
And that's just where you want to be, isn't it, John? Right over that bunker that's in the rough there?
That's as good as you can put it, Dave.
John Schroeder out on the fairway with that pair. There's the ball. Now to Aoki on the 6th tee.
Perfect.
Okay.
He doesn't have as full a follow through as you would like in a classical swing, but he certainly gets enough distance with it.
Trevino for a birdie on the 8th. He's at 2 under, 4 off the lead. Is it enough?
Yeah, you could tell when he sort of waved his putter, he thought he left it a little bit short, trying to give a little help there, Jim.
So it'll be a par for Lee Trevino on that hole, and he stays at 2 under. The U.S. Open moves toward its conclusion.
Aoki's second shot to the 6th.
Oh, and what a shot, Peter. What a shot this is.
Well, it's sheer magic, isn't it? That's 2 full-blooded wooden club shots. Aoki straight at the pin. Done with that remarkably easy, rather strange swing. He's on the green, pretty close to the hole. This was Keith Fergus at the 7th, putting for a birdie. And getting it. Moves into second place, ahead of Watson and Aoki. Back to Nicklaus.
Peter, he doesn't have too bad a lie, actually. It's, you know, everything's relative, but for a National Open rough, I would say that this lie is a little above average. He's going to have to pick the club up and come down abruptly at the ball to get the face of the club on the ball, because there is a little clump of grass behind it, but it could be a lot worse. He can definitely reach the green if he hits a good shot.
So really, he should be trying to aim this perhaps into the middle of the green, just hoping to perhaps pitch it a little short, chase it onto the green.
Yes, it is definitely going to roll when it hits. There's no way you can stop it up there. It's come out very low and a little left. In the bunker, it looks like.
Just short of the bunker and not lying too badly, and leaving him with plenty of green to pitch onto. Keith Fergus, 8th tee.
Oh, he's going to love it. Peter, he is really unflappable. He's been playing so smoothly. I don't mean this in a demeaning way, but it might as well be the Akron Open. I mean, as far as he's concerned, he's just playing a lovely Sunday afternoon of golf, I mean.
Well, there's a hint of thunder in the air. 7th fairway. Tom Watson. And that's nicely into the heart of the green, and he would appear to be playing very nicely, John Schroeder.
Yeah.
There's a view of the clubhouse from our Goodyear blimp, and you get some idea of the massed crowds around the clubhouse. Big press tent at the back on the right-hand side, pulling back and showing you this marvelous view across these green acres. Trevino, tricky little bunker shot, and just couldn't get it to dig in and stop. That's Trevino at the 9th. 2 under. Good score by Andy North, former Open champion, a 67. He finishes the championship at just 2 over par, 2.82, and Curtis Strange joins those players in with a round of 70. Now back to Nicklaus at the 6th. You can see how much green he's got to pitch onto, so he doesn't have too difficult a shot. It doesn't seem to be lying too badly. Pace, of course, all important. Tufty rough. You can see Jack practicing a little pitch shot. Frank, do you think the rough is as severe as it has been over the past few years in these championships?
Sure, Peter. We think of it in terms of providing a half-stroke penalty, even for the greatest players in the world. You drive in the fairway, off the fairway into the rough, you're only going to make a par half the time.
Jack breaks the wrist, stabs it up, plays it beautifully. Good shot. Nicklaus marks his ball, and Aoki will putt from the back of the green. But before he does, let's have a look at Tom Watson at the 7th putting. Well, he's got an outside chance. He's a long way away. This for a birdie. Confident stroke. Shaved the hole. Watson 4 under. Back to Aoki and Nicklaus. They're the last pair out on the course. The news that Trevino dropped a stroke at the 9th. So he's now just 1 under par. Now Aoki for a 3 at the 6th.
What? Going for a bird.
Watson on the right. Aoki has a good putt. Still above ground though. Watson gets his. Par 4. At the 7th. That's a long hint call. Safely in. Remains 3 under. Just 3 strokes behind the leader, Jack Nicklaus, who's faced with an awkward one back on the 6th. This is Fergus, though, this fine young player. Lovely rhythm.
And he hits the ball real high, Peter, much like Watson and Nicklaus. Wind kicking up a little, I think that's what bothers him. It's the 8th hole, and it's just about an 8-iron for him.
Oh, nearly pitched in the hole.
Very workable.
Oh, and he's unlucky. He was for a moment just a couple of inches away, and now he's perhaps 9 or 10 feet away. But a fine shot. Let's have a look at that again. You'll see the ball pitch almost jump straight back into the hole. Even the cabbage white butterfly didn't put him off. Look at that. Aoki, his par on the 6th. Well, that was Aoki's 4 at the 6th. This was Nicklaus just before him. This for his par. What a crucial putt. Firm and confident, and what a brave effort. And that was needed. Nicklaus remains ahead, but only by 1 from Keith Fergus, 2 from Watson and Aoki. There's our hole model of the 7th, 470 yards. Drive up to there, then just turn a little left to right, up to the green at the end. Very easy to go in the rough down the left-hand side. It's a narrowish green with a fence behind, and if you make an error in judgment with your club selection, it's very easy to go over this green. The fence, the out-of-bounds fence, is only 8 or 9 steps over the back of this green. If you try and cut off too much from the tee, you can go right of those bunkers we've just sailed over the top of. Nicklaus will be trying to go just over the top of that second bunker, about the middle of that little spur, just sticking towards the edge of the fairway. Too far right, is that?
It's in the deep rough to the right, Peter. Not in a good spot at all.
Over there. Now, Aoki. Chance to see this interesting style. And he's gone down the left, but doesn't appear to be lying too badly. Meanwhile, here's young Keith Fergus. If he holds this putt at the 8th, he will be tied for the lead with Jack Nicklaus. Just faded away, but Fergus is there at 5 under, Nicklaus at 6, but in trouble. What a day this is.
The battle is on for the 1980 U.S. Open Golf Championship, and one of the participants is Isao Aoki of Japan at 4 under par for the championship. He is 2 strokes behind leader Jack Nicklaus, 1 behind Keith Fergus. Here is Tom Watson, who is tied with Aoki for 3rd place. He's on the 8th fairway on this par 4 hole.
It's like that may be a little left of where he wants to go.
There it is, on the green.
Not bad, not bad.
Playing partner Lon Hinkle just a little bit further away, you noted on the green, I'm sure, than Watson is. But they'll both be putting, have birdie attempts. Now, Keith Fergus on the 9th tee, the 9th, a 205-yard par 3. Remember, he's in solo second, 1 stroke behind Nicklaus, and Nicklaus is in trouble behind him in the rough.
Very good par 3 here, Jim. It's long iron, playing into a green that's sort of narrow and sits at a little awkward angle for you. Look at that rhythm and swing.
You dubbed him yesterday the Sugarland Express. He's from Sugarland, Texas, and the Express is chugging along.
It really is. He's hit just a lot of good shots right in a row. The shot at the last hole at 7, the way he started out.
Aoki changing clubs. Remember, he's in the rough, as is Nicklaus. They're playing together, if you've just joined us.
Bob, is he in the light rough or the taller cut there?
He's in the taller cut, David, but he actually has a pretty good lie, but he's an awful long ways from the hole, about 210.
Have to get over that bunker that's in the center there.
No. I don't think that one's going to get over the bunker.
You could hear him say no, or we could.
You don't have to translate that to know what he was saying. Where is it, Bob? Can you see?
Well, I can't see. It's got to be
longish
short
rough,
of the green,
yeah.
no.
I think it's short in that long rough we're looking at right there.
Now, what about Nicklaus's lie?
Yeah, that's where it is. What
about Jack's lie now?
He's got the most marvelous lie you've ever seen in the rough. I can't believe it. It's sitting up just like it's on the fairway. It's gonna have to watch it because it could jump a little, but it really is a good lie.
The fates that rule golf will have something to do with the way this turns out.
Way up in the air, a little left.
Okay, there it is, still rolling
green.
through and into the longish grass in the back.
Well, that's what happens. The greens are firming up. They were soft the first part of the week, and when you get a shot out of the rough like that, you hit what we call a flyer, where it goes even farther than you can think about it.
Just a moment ago, Lon Hinkle on the 8th green. This attempt for a birdie. Oh, my goodness.
Hello. No? Don't tell me.
No. Just hung on the lip for Lon.
Well, he needs to get turned around after making a couple of bogeys there, and that would have helped his cause a little bit. Tom now, obviously, watching Lon's putt, knows, you know, it's got a little better idea of the speed and the break. They're almost on the same line, putting up the hill, Jim.
Tom Watson. The inevitable passerby someplace blowing their horn.
Yelling 4.
That's right. They never fail. They think they're the first person to do it. It's another par for Tom Watson, keeping him at 4 under for the tournament, even par for the day. 2 shots off the lead. But Nicklaus is off the green in 2. There's the members' terrace at Baltusrol, and again, the leader situation. A single shot, another single shot. 2 men tie, Watson and Aoki. Another shot to Hinkle. 2 more shots to Trevino. Trevino starting on the back 9. Mark Hayes is tied with Trevino. Ed Snead playing well today. Doesn't look like he can make it. Bobby Watkins, former champion Andy North, had a 67 today. A fine round.
Great round.
Keith Fergus. And once again, this one could tie him for the lead with Nicklaus. He's having birdie opportunities.
Oh, yeah, little pull there. But he is playing the most solid of anyone that we've seen so far, Jim. He's just going along and hitting it in the fairways and on the greens, which is what you have to do to win an Open.
Well, he bogeyed 3, but then he birdied 4 immediately and then birdied 7 to go to 5 under. Here's Aoki with his 3rd shot on the par 4.
Well, this is what he is generally very good at.
Left himself a long one. He's not happy right now.
Well, he figured he was going to run a little right to left. That green, though it looks flat on your set, has a big swing from right to left.
Well, that fairly long putt is the kind that he's been making all the way through this tournament to save par. We'll see if he can do it today. Jack Nicklaus now with his 3rd shot on the par 4. Trying to hold on to his lead. Trying for that 4th Open Championship. Remember, only 3 men have ever had that achievement. Willie Anderson, Bobby Jones, and Ben Hogan.
Jim Nicklaus gives a lot of credit to Phil Rogers on helping him with his short game this year. They've worked quite a bit together, and Jack has practiced quite a bit. I know the shot that he played on the last hole when he pitched up for a par was reminiscent of Philip. See what he does here. Different type shot here.
Yeah.
Well, he's pitching back against the hill, and it just didn't go as much as he was hoping it would. Keith Fergus at number 9 for his 3, which is a par.
He has it. Stays at 5 under for the tournament. 1 under on today's round. Keith Fergus. Phil Rogers, whom you mentioned, of course, was tied for the British Open Championship. The defending champion, Hale Irwin, on the 18th hole. Hale started the day at 3 over. He's now 2 over, so he's 1 under on today's round.
Good, solid player, Jim. He has been for a long time, since he came out in '68.
Won his first United States Open in this area over in Westchester County at the Wing Foot Club in 1974. And last year at Inverness.
It's in the front bunker there. A lot of players will be able to reach this green today if you get a good lie. He's a little downhill there, and it's a little harder to keep the ball in the air for a long time when you have a downhill lie.
Now back to the leaders, the leader, Nicklaus. You see that they're still thinking and pacing. So on the 10th, the 9th tee, I should say, Tom Watson. Par 3 hole. Nope, bunker. Somebody said carry it, but it didn't. So Watson striving for that Open Championship. Can't quite make up those 2 strokes. Aoki putting for a par. Nicklaus also has a longish putt for a par. Keith Fergus is solid as a rock. There you see Fergus, 1 behind Nicklaus, 1 ahead of Watson and Aoki. Aoki can't afford to drop further behind.
His main strength is putting, and so far he's missed the ones that he's been making the first 3 rounds. He needs to get one of these in to get back on balance and get his confidence back up. That rather unique style that he features there, Jim, with just the heel of the putter on the ground. Nope, that's left.
Didn't work again. For 3 days, he almost never missed one of those. But the pressure is on everybody today.
Yeah, you might see some rather curious things today.
Yes, my boy. Nicklaus now needs this one for a par.
All right. I feel that Jack, again, has a little bit easier putt, Jim. He's putting up the hill. Putt now will be a left to right. Just guessing, I'd say right on the left edge, maybe just a little outside of it.
If he doesn't make this one, he'll drop into a tie for the lead with Keith Fergus. Nicklaus, age 40, Fergus, age 26. Old Bear and Young Lion.
Stop being any old lions. I never hear anyone's an old lion. They're always young lions. Or are they just long of tooth?
You could put it that way.
But these are the ones he's made for so long, Jim, when he had to make them.
That's right. He's been doing it this week, too.
That's why he's leading. Left.
Not this time. And so the bogey 5 for Jack Nicklaus drops into 5 under par in a tie for the lead with Keith Fergus. He's 1 over for the day. Well, from here on, it's going to be sheer determination, control of nerves. It's going to make the difference, don't you think?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Hale Irwin at 18 with his 3rd shot. Long bunker shot here. A lot depends on what sort of lie he has. Looks good in the air.
Oh, lovely shot.
It looks marvelous on the ground.
That's right. Might prepare you, if this is your first day with us, that this golf course is very unusual in that it ends with 2 par 5s. They're the only par 5s on the golf course, 17 and 18, both par 5, and that's where, of course, it will finish. Irwin has a opportunity for a birdie here, so that would put him 2 under. He'd have a round of 68 today and come in at +1 for the tournament. Now, here we are. It's Nicklaus, now co-leader. Still hitting first because his fellow competitor today, Aoki, also bogeyed. Bob?
Looks like it's coming a little right. That's in the deep rough to the right, Jim.
We see it. Boy, that really did dive down in there, too. Driving is not supporting him too well at the moment.
Well, you can see from that sort of side there, he's not too pleased with it either. And with the flag on the right side, that's not too good a place to be.
Watson needing this for a par. Up on the 9th hole, the par 3. Nope.
Good roll.
That'll put him, if he makes the short putt, at 3 over for the tournament. And he did make that. 3 under for the tournament is Watson. And now we're back on the Nicklaus hole, and that the caddy there, the 4 caddy, is holding the flag where Jack will be hitting from. Hinkle for a birdie. Gotta move him back up closer to the leaders, and look at that.
Oh, can you see it break so fast? The kind, Jim, that you may give each other in a match at a club or something. I believe that's why you should putt everything out and get a score. And how heartbreaking can it be there?
Now Fergus, he's in the rough. Suddenly all the guys who've been driving straight for 3.5 days are getting a little crooked.
This might fly a little bit too. David, there was some grass between his ball where he could strike it, and I would imagine it would run a little bit on him when it gets up there.
It should, Bill.
Just
that's
over.
Exactly what happened to it. Not a bad shot, though, by any means.
No, indeed. On this 454-yard par 4, the 10th.
tough driving hole there. It's not surprising that you missed the fairway there. It's a hard drive to see.
And so we have a tie for the lead at the U.S. Open. Jack Nicklaus with Keith Fergus, then Watson, Aoki, and Hinkle. There's Jack Nicklaus trying for a 4th United States Open Golf Championship, trying to join Willie Anderson, Bobby Jones, and Ben Hogan as the only men to achieve that. But he's in trouble on the 8th hole on this long par 4 in heavy rough, as Bob Rosberg reported from the fairway. Anything else to comment on that, Bob?
Really has a pretty good lie, even though it is
Again?
heavy rough. Yeah, it's in a piece of grass that's lying toward the green, which always makes it easier, but he's got a terrible angle to come into the flag from. I don't think he's going to shoot it at the flag, and if he does, he's just got to be sure that he takes enough club and puts it past the hole so he can putt back at it.
What sort of loft club does that look like?
Oh, it's probably a pitching wedge, Jim. I wouldn't think anything more. He's about 100 yards from the hole.
Well, you see what Nicklaus sees. See the bunker out there, flag stick. Straight up.
Big cut at it, and very high in the air. Past
there it
the
is,
hole.
still running. Now look at that ball next to the flagstick. You saw Jack, but the ball right next to the flagstick was hit a few moments ago by Isao Aoki. He's been shaking a bit. He's had his problems. He's not been making the putts he made yesterday and the day before and the day before that. But look at this. A sensational shot by Aoki of Japan. Should be able to tap that in, of course, for a birdie 3. It has not so far, if you've just joined us today, I'm Jim McKay, been a matter of spectacular birdies and eagles and bogeys and double bogeys. Rather, there's been a great sense of growing tension here at Baltusrol in the final round of the U.S. Open. There have been a birdie here and a bogey there, somebody going in the rough but then recovering very nicely. Tom Watson and his bid started off with a bogey on the first hole, but came right back with a birdie. Nicklaus moved out from a tie for the lead with Aoki to a 2-shot lead at one point. Then he came back with a bogey here and there. It's been that kind of a U.S. Open final round, the kind that can build to some finish much later this afternoon. And of course, we've been carrying them all the way from the first hole. We'll carry them through the 18th, whether that's before 6:30 or after 6:30 Eastern time. But as I said, there's not too much dramatic to report in the way of spectacular shots and action here. It's just the sense of growing tension. Why don't we go on with our coverage now and go out on the course with Peter Allis.
Thank you, Jim. And there's the massive scoreboard close to the 18th green. Nicklaus, Fergus, Watson, and Aoki. The tension, though, is tremendous here because this was Keith Fergus. This was for a birdie. This is for a par, rather not a birdie, par, recorded earlier. And he just blew it down the right-hand side. Lon Hinkle had missed a little tiny putt, perhaps even shorter than that one that Fergus had. So he goes back to 4 under, and they're doing their best to help Jack in his quest for his 4th championship. And that's how it is. The nerve ends are very tingly at the moment because so easy to drop a stroke. Aoki just taps his in for a birdie 3. He moves up to 4 under. And now Jack Nicklaus putting, you see, quite a long way from the hole. This is the 8th green. He's 1 ahead of the pack. Pace so important. If he just keeps plodding on, stays 1 ahead, he'll be a very happy man in a couple of hours or so. Look at that ball turning. Look at that, just like crown green bowls. Bowlers looked to be 4 or 5 feet left, gradually worked its way right to the hole side. That was a very finely judged putt. And yet another par safely tucked in the bag for Nicklaus. And over they go to this very demanding 9th hole. So Nicklaus stays one ahead. But there's a long way to go yet. 10th green. And there's Tom Watson. Watson 3 under. Out in 35, that's 1 over par. Par here is 34 out, 36 home, 70. Watson you see using a putter from just short of the green. There's some scores of the players already completed their 4 rounds. Ray Floyd a 75.292 after that great start. Gene Littler, Weiskopf. Former Master Champion Fuzzy Zeller, 77, 14 over par for the 4 rounds. Now Watson, 10th hole, 3rd shot. Well, it was a pretty good effort, but you see quite a fair bit short of the hole. Ninth tee, and Aoki, he will have the honour. He will play first after that fine 3, and you notice he's playing his little wood, trying to cut one in. He needs to as well. The pin on the right-hand side of the green, it's a little low cutter. Can he do it?
Well, it's not low. It's way up in the air, Peter. It's kind of like a pop fly. Way short of the green in the bunker.
Well, it was a very peculiar looking swing, and I think it got the result it deserved from that rather strange swing. Can't keep pulling off miracles, but somehow he manages to do it. Aoki in the bunker at the 9th. There he is. Now Nicklaus with a long iron, aiming at that flag. If you're allowed a couple of goes at it, probably he'd try to play it down the left-hand side and just let it fade into the flag. Really doesn't want to miss the green on the right badly, because there's really not much green to pitch onto from the rough or the sand. If you're going to miss it, you want to be in the sand close to the green. Nicklaus then with a long iron, tee shot at the 9th.
Right in the middle of the green, Peter. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, fine shot. Safely on. Now back to the 11th, and young Keith Fergus, who just missed that short putt.
He had a beautiful drive here, Peter. He's only got about an 8-iron into the green. You know, he knew for a moment that he was tied for the lead, and all he did was just raise his eyebrows.
Well, some of these shots are raising our eyebrows, Bill. That was a fine shot from young Keith Fergus. We'll be back with more golf after you hear these messages from our sponsors.
That's the way they stand. Nicklaus by 1 over Aoki, and Keith Fergus by 2 over Lon Hinkle, by 3 now over Tom Watson, by 4 over Mark Hayes. We said there had not been too many dramatic developments so far. Well, Watson is 1 at the moment. Watson has bogeyed the last 2 holes. Now we have Hinkle on the 11th tee, playing with Watson. 428-yard par 4.
Dogleg left. Good hole to drive with a little right to left. That's in the right, short. Rough there, Jim.
Doesn't look like too bad a lie, though. And Watson, remember, coming off 2 bogeys in a row to drop to 2 under par for the tournament. Still only 3 out of the lead, because nobody's sprinting away. So if he can steady.
Coming right, right here.
No, you heard somebody say coming right. Oh, it's way right. It's way right.
That is
So
very
Tom-
dark in there, Jim.
Ooh, that's jungle stuff. Tom Watson trying for that first U.S. Open. It's amazing. He's never won one, and now he's run into major problems. Aoki in the sand on the short 9th hole, the par 3, hit a very strange tee shot.
Just maybe he tried to take too much off of that wood. Like a good shot, and it's just running a little left of the hole there.
Now Fergus for a birdie. Another birdie opportunity goes a glimmering. Nicklaus with his birdie putt on 9, the par 3. Remember, he's with Aoki. He's the tournament leader by a stroke, and he'll need that to stay that way. When he completes this hole, it'll be half done, but only half. There's a look at the breeze that has come up here. You look at the flags atop the scoreboard at the 18th hole. As we said, it's windier up here as far as the ground is concerned than it is down further in the course. However, up in the air, that's about the way it is where they're playing.
It's picked up quite a bit and gotten cooler, Jim, which I hope doesn't harbor. We may be having a few of the storms that were predicted for today.
We don't see anything dark within our view yet, however, although we have 2 hours to go, just about. Aoki, again with a difficult putt for a par.
That was a good bunker shot, though, from where he was. Long bunker shot. Those are tough to play.
Okay, here's Watson. John Schroeder, how bad is it?
Jim, he's got really no shot at all. I think if he tries to get aggressive and play it at the green, he's got to go basically right through the pine tree in front of him. He might try it, but if it was me, I'd probably pitch it out in the fairway and try to make 4 from there.
Okay, well, there's the pine tree. We did have a good look at it from the other angle, too.
He's got to play a big cut shot if he tries to reach the green, I think.
About how long a shot does he have, John?
190 yards.
Ooh, wee. The light looks down here, looking on the screen. Well, it's away.
Hit it left. Left and short of the green, maybe in the fairway.
Oh, look at this. It's on the green, John. What a shot. Right in the middle of the green. Moving to the back.
Just short of marvelous.
That shows you how much I know.
Sure shows you how much he knows.
Well, there's more putts missed by that man than you would ever think would happen.
And he's missed all week. That's a bogey for Aoki after birdieing to get back into it. He now drops 2 strokes behind Nicklaus again. He's 3 under, so Keith Fergus is now in solo possession of 2nd place, 1 behind Nicklaus. Nicklaus needing this for the 3 to stay at 5 under for the tournament, 1 over for the day, and 1 stroke ahead of 26-year-old Keith Fergus of Sugar Land, Texas. Never heard so many birds. Okay. Making sure of it, Jack Nicklaus has completed the front 9 in a 1 over par score of 35. The front 9 is 34 par, the back 9 is 36 because of the 2 par 5 finishing holes. Now Fergus up on the 12th. This is another of the par 3s.
It's playing very short too, Jim. It's really downwind today, and I think it looks like a 6-iron.
Fergus, who started with a round of 66 and has had consecutive even par rounds of 70 since then. He's been very, very steady all the way through. Oh, yes.
Well, it's tough because you're downwind, as Bill said, and you're just not going to get the spin on it, but it's a good shot, Keith. Don't shake your head too much there. First time I guess the television audience saw Keith was when he was runner-up to Fred Ridley in the National Amateur. He's been a good player for a number of years, had a fine amateur record, and is now one of our best young players on the tour. As a matter of fact, this year, 4 top 10 finishes and stroke average is 70.89, which is very good, and we did have a chance to talk to him earlier.
Keith, do you feel any more, let's say, emotion going into a final round of the U.S. Open than you would at an ordinary tour tournament?
Well, but I think there's a little more excitement. You know, you want to play. There's a huge crowd out here, just like yesterday, and you want to play good. It's the U.S. Open, but I really don't feel any more pressure than I do any other tournament if I was this close to the lead. But I'm excited and I'm ready to play, I hope.
Would you, for instance, lie in bed if you woke up a little early this morning and just think about the course itself and maybe fantasize a little bit about winning it?
Oh, sure. You always think about that. You know, you wonder what it'd be like, and hopefully I'll experience that. But, you know, I feel like I'm ready to play today.
Sure looks like he's ready to play. Keith Fergus, one shot out of the lead in the United States Open. He has not won a tournament since he came out on tour. Was second in the U.S. Amateur. As Dave Marr mentioned, that was the tournament we covered.
Final round of this year's
And he's
Open
improved each
Championship.
year, too.
And what a championship.
Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
We're back at the U.S. Open, and Jack Nicklaus is still that one stroke ahead of young Keith Fergus. The clubhouse, the majestic setting. This we recorded for you moments ago. After that marvellous second shot of Watson's from out of the trees at the 11th, he had this putt for a birdie 3. Starts to turn, but a little too late. And Watson will, I'm sure, escape with a par. This is Fergus at the 12th after that very good tee shot that just went to the back of the putting surface. This putt to tie with Jack Nicklaus. And nobody really taking this championship by the scruff of the neck. It's a lot of missed opportunities, one feels, or pressures building up, and at the moment none of these very fine players are really giving the leader Jack Nicklaus too much to think about, but I think Jack may be full of his own thoughts at this moment, but he is still ahead. It's all a bit of a sweat and a strain and a struggle, but this man is just one stroke behind Keith Fergus. Now back to the 10th. Aoki's second shot.
Going a little left. Oh, what a bounce. Super bounce.
Off the bank, just gone through the back of the green, but only some 18 or 20 feet from the hole. Off that bank by the bunker on the right there. Now, what sort of shot does Nicklaus have? No trees in the way or anything, Bob?
No, he's perfect, Peter. In fact, he's got the best angle you can have to get to the flag. No bunker in front. He probably will play a shot and allow it to take one jump and then roll, because the wind is pretty strong and it's gusting a little, and it's very difficult now to carry the ball on any downwind hole anywhere near the flag and try and stop it. Actually, I think the wind has made the downwind holes play a little tougher than the ones against the wind. The holes against the wind are not that long, and the downwind holes are very difficult to get the ball close to the hole.
And the voice of Bob Rosberg. Now the swing of Jack Nicklaus. Second shot to the 10th. Championship leader by 1.
Right at it.
Oh, could it go in? Well, it just tails away about 22, 23 inches from the hole. And that, for Nicklaus fans, is much better. Much better indeed. Well, who knows? Perhaps Jack thinks to himself, well, nobody else is doing any good. I might as well see what I can do. Interestingly enough, when I watched this shot first time, it looked as if he'd hit the ball very cleanly. I didn't notice any divot come up, and I wondered if he'd hit it a little bit thin, sounded a little bit tinny, just slaffed the top of the grass. But just look at that, for it pitched and took a firmish bounce, started to check about the third time it hit the ground, and that really does look like, well, as cast iron as you can be in golf, a birdie. Now Watson, who's escaped with a rather miracle par 4 at the 11th, 2 over for today, and his trials and tribulations in this great championship go on. Fergus got his par at the 12th. John Schroeder's been following Tom Watson, and any thoughts, John, on this great man's play and how difficult it seems for him to get to grips with this championship?
Well, Peter, I talked with Tom on the putting green before he played, and one question I asked him, I said, what do you have to do to win today? And he looked at me right in the eye and he said, not make any mistakes. And he's been making a lot of mistakes today. He had a great break at 1 when he hit a tree. The 3rd hole, he hit a tree way in the right rough and came in the fairway. He's been, getting away with a lot of poor shots today. I think he's got to start hitting the ball a lot better if he has any chance at all to win this championship.
Safely on. Nice shot. Well, of course, there have been great players who have never won the American Open Championship. And, of course, the classic one that comes to mind, Frank, is, of course, Sam Snead.
Sam Snead.
Keith Fergus, 13th tee. Fergus just 1 behind Nicklaus. That's a splendid hit. Aoki now at the 10th, just as you see, off the fringe. Just gives it a little jab and jabs it right into the hole. Little chips it in with a 7 or an 8 iron. Just trundled it right in. The magician from the Orient goes to 4 under. Well, perhaps things are going to warm up after all.
Since he wasn't on the putting green, Peter, of course, he was allowed to leave the flagstick in the hole, use it as a backstop, as it were.
Indeed. And these sort of things, you see, this is what I was saying earlier about makes it life difficult for Jack. He's played 2 superb shots. Now he's got this little one to think of. He must eliminate Mr. Aoki from his thoughts and get this in for his birdie. Sirens going, children crying out, mothers wailing, fathers gnashing teeth. Nicklaus backs off, starts all over again.
What's it?
Yes, right in the centre. Nicklaus gets his birdie, leads by 2 strokes. Let's have another look at this little chip from Aoki. You can see he's not far away, and as Frank Hannigan said, he's allowed to leave the flag in as he's not on the putting surface. He's got 7 or 8 iron, gives a little chop forward, almost like a putt, hits the flag, in she goes. 12th green, and also from just off the putting surface, Lon Hinkle. Score a 2 at left. Hinkle, 3 under. Gary Holberg, low amateur, interesting young player, Frank.
Yes, he's won the Intercollegiate Championship a year or 2 ago. He's, I believe, 6 over par for the championship. Peter, quite a distinction to be low amateur in the Open Championship. You get a gold medal. You get exempt from qualifying from the Amateur Championship. A lot of great players have been low amateur first in the U.S. Open. There's one there.
Yes, and he's had quite a career, hasn't he? And the holes are marching on. There's our model of the 11th. You can see it, dogleg right to left. First matter of importance is getting the tee shot on the fairway.
Absolutely perfect. Could not have driven it any better if you stood there for a week, Peter.
Well, he certainly didn't hold back on it. I'd have hated to have had my finger in between the club face and the ball. Here's Watson for a birdie. Birdie at the 12th. Oh, would you believe that? That might have done him an awful lot of good. Oakey at the 11th. Whoopsie.
It's a little to the right, but might be all right. Just in a short rough, not too bad.
Watson gets his par. Now Fergus, second shot to the 13th. This hole, 393 yards. Fergus in a tie with Aoki, just 2 behind Nicklaus.
Just a little short iron for him. Perfectly placed tee shot.
Yeah, another nice shot. He's kept his rhythm going nicely. And, well, we're building up for a great climax here at this year's Open Championship.
Again, we return to the U.S. Open Golf Championship. The wind coming up at Baltusrol, the air heavy with humidity, and that's very much the feeling here. The first 3 days, the weather was perfect, pleasant, easy summer weather. More pressure in the air, and of course, more pressure on the golf course, as Jack Nicklaus leads by 2 strokes in his quest for a 4th United States Open Golf Championship. Here is Isao Aoki of Japan playing with Nicklaus, his second shot on the 11th hole, a par 4, 428 yards long. Aoki tied for second place with Keith Fergus of Sugar Land, Texas.
Rossi, about how long a shot does he have?
He has a shot of about 175 yards, David, but he caught a pretty good lie again, and it shouldn't give him any trouble. He can run it into this green. Played a nice-looking shot right at the middle of the green. Beautiful shot.
Well done, yes.
Okay, Aoki safely on. This championship being carried not only live through all of North America, but by satellite, well, literally around the world, because it's going to Japan. They're going to carry the last 15 minutes live on their popular morning program over there, you know, very much like Good Morning America, and then full coverage later. Here's Fergus, tied for second, 2 strokes behind Nicklaus.
Would move him in a little closer, and he has certainly played well.
All right. Yes, as you say, he's played very steadily and very well. And he's still challenging. I said it'll be going to Japan. They're carrying it live in Australia at 4:30 in the morning. They tell us 2 million people will be watching, which is 15% of the population.
Looks like he's going to play one of those shots that Rossi was talking about, a little knockdown shot. In other words, one where you punch it. He's gripped down a little on the club, and you watch it. It will not follow through as much as a usual Nicklaus swing. Let's see if that's the case.
Yes, that's the kind of shot he hit. It's going left. Got to flirt with the trees.
Okay, the leader
got away with it, Rossi. No.
No, he's all right. There it is. There it is. Now we told you about Japan and Australia, and within a matter of seconds now we're going to be joined live by the British Broadcasting Company in Great Britain. So you're going to be hearing Peter Alliss welcome his audience. Don't be confused by that at all. We're going to continue right on here. And Peter will be commenting for us, but also we'll all be commenting for Great Britain, so we may refer to that from time to time. Nicklaus by 2. Look like he might be getting into trouble there, but he's all right. Fergus and Aoki tied for second, then Hinkle, Watson, and Mark Hayes.
Well, welcome to our BBC viewers, and that's the position. Jack Nicklaus leading by 2 strokes from young Keith Fergus, and the amazing Aoki from Japan. Lon Hinkle is there. Tom Watson having a rather untidy round, but still in contention if he can get a few putts going. It's been an interesting day. The temperature is different all round the course and in every way. It's a cooler sort of day, threats of thunder about, and the golf so far has been, well, tense rather than exciting. Here's Watson, that familiar swing. He's been driving the ball pretty wild today. He's not been getting his putts in, so the player of the moment is struggling a bit. Nicholas, well, everyone's been struggling, to be perfectly honest, except young Keith Fergus, who's gone along beautifully. Aoki's been a little bit untidy. He hasn't been holding as many putts as he was in the first 3 rounds. He's once again playing with Jack Nicklaus. That means 4 days in a row. That's a view from the Goodyear blimp down on the course. Massive crowds. Here's young Fergus, and it's still a great, great championship. And it's going to develop tremendously so over these closing holes. Nicklaus going along, nobody attacking Nicklaus. He's just birdied 1 hole. Here's Lon Hinkle, who's quite capable of doing anything. He's enormously powerful. He's won tournaments. Can he win this championship? Well, there again, you see, nobody really threatening.
Not one of the leaders is under par today, Peter.
That's absolutely right, Frank. No leader under par. And, of course, there are supplementary things going on here, aren't they? I mean, we're looking at the high up the leaderboard, but what is it? First, how many get all sorts of exemptions?
15 in ties. Get it back into the Open next year.
15 in ties. Well, that's an important thing to play in this championship without the efforts of pre-qualifying. There's Keith Fergus, who's played beautifully today.
He's only missed 3 fairways the entire day, Peter, and there's another beauty right down the right side where he wants to be.
Yeah, lovely shot. That's the voice of Bill Fleming, who's one of our commentators out on the course, along with former PGA champion Bob Rosberg and John Schroeder. Frank Hannigan of the US PGA is with me, and up at the main commentary position at the 18th green, Jim McKay and David Marr, also former PGA champion. And we're all having an exciting time because, well, as I'm sure all lovers of golf are, because it's a great moment. So many records may be broken today. Nicklaus may win his 4th Open Championship. Not many have done that. Here's Aoki. And the long one gets it up pretty close with a style all his own. Aoki, who opened up with 3 rounds of 68. The par here is 70, 34 out, 36 home. And lots of mistakes, tension creeping in. Aoki remains 4 under, tied with Keith Fergus. And how about that for a view across the green acres of Baltusrol? Little threat of thunder in the air. That's the 11th. The 11th green. This hole 428 yards. There's Jack Nicklaus with a chance for a birdie. Been a little tentative today, Jack. He hasn't won a major championship. Well, it's only a year or 2, but seems a long time for him. Looks nice. Oh! Right over the edge of the hole. And I must say that looks to be pretty close. Well, it's just gone on. The greens are speeding up a little bit. They're cut very short. The whole condition of the course is quite superb. Thick rough, fast greens, holding greens. A well-struck ball will hold. Perhaps they're a little softer than the pundits would really like. Frank, is that a true statement?
Quite so, Peter. A great deal of rain here during the past week.
Nicklaus then, this for his par 4. And another hole safely negotiated. And you can almost see the strain beginning to show on Nicklaus's face. Through the crowd, over to the long, difficult, short 12th. Tom Watson. Watson. 2 over par for today.
Simply must make 2 or 3 birdies from here in if he's going to he's going to have a chance. Never finished better than 5th in this championship.
No, that is remarkable. We've already talked about his various wins over the years, winning 4, 5, 6 tournaments a year throughout the world, championships here, there and ever, a couple of British Opens, and just doesn't seem to be able to fire on all cylinders when the Open comes around, but a marvellous player. And another one slips past, and you can almost see the disappointment edged round the tight lips of Tom Watson. Now Keith Fergus. 14th fairway.
Just an easy little wedge, but it's downwind, and as Rossi pointed out, those could be treacherous.
Pulled up nicely. Gives him a chance for a 3, and he has hit the ball very well indeed. There's another good view from the Goodyear blimp, looking down through these majestic trees as huge bunkers like giant jigsaw pieces. That's the 12th you're looking at now, the long short hole, 3 bunkers guarding the green. Bob Rosberg, what sort of iron will Jack be loosing at this one?
Well, I believe he'll probably play a 6-iron here, Peter. He's a little perplexed now. He's trying to find out where the wind is because the flag on this green, the green is dropped a little below the level of the fairway, and the flag is absolutely limp, but he knows there's some wind up there behind him. The pin is actually cut. The hole is cut in a pretty good place here. It's not a real hard pin placement today.
Get in the hole.
It's right at it.
Oh, pulled up rather quickly, but safely on the putting surface. And he's a little disappointed. He's just saying, where's that? Where's that? Well, the crowd didn't quite react. He knows that he's not stiff to the pin. Hinkle and Watson got their pars, so they remain at 3 under for Hinkle, 2 under for Watson. Aoki, who's kept things going very well. He hasn't been quite as solid as he was in the first 3 rounds, but he's still there, just a couple of strokes behind.
Actually, Peter, he hasn't played much differently than he did the first 3 rounds, but he just hasn't made a whole lot. Oh, this is a beautiful shot, too. This one might really be close. Beautiful shot, about 10 feet from the hole.
So lots can happen yet. But Nicklaus is leading the championship by 2 strokes. Isn't that pretty? Really would be something if Nicklaus can hold on to win his 4th championship here on this course where there's so much history. This young man, of course, well, wouldn't it be marvellous for him to win as well? He's 4 under, he's just 2 strokes behind, tied with Aoki, and he probably has played the nicest, steadiest golf of the day. Playing with Mark Hayes, who's now a level par for the championship. You can hear the wind blowing through our effects microphones. Scoring up today, Andy North, former champion, in with a 67. That's the best round of the day. Not many players have broken par. Mark Lai had a 69. Mike Reed, good inward 9 of 33 against a par of 36. He's had a 69, as indeed has defending champion Hale Irwin. 33-36 for him. But this is Keith Fergus, chance for a birdie. Short backswing, pushing, follow through, and shaves the edge of the hole. And nobody able to get these putts in to really charge away from anyone. Everyone hanging together, which makes it even more nerve-wracking. Mark Hayes on the right. Viewers in Britain will remember him from the Turnberry Open of 1977 when he was almost one of the last players out in the opening rounds. He came in with a record-shattering score.
Started the day 4 under, Peter. Lost 4 strokes.
Yes, as many others did as well, Frank, during the day. As we say, nobody really charged in. Looked as if Ed Sneed might at one time out in 32, but 38 back for a 70. And that's another one gone astray. Tom Weiskopf, a 75 today, opened up with that marvellous 63, but he finished in 289, 9 over par. Andy North in for 282. Nicklaus then at the 12th. His caddy, Angelo, holding the flag. Some great teamwork goes on between players and caddy nowadays, and it's interesting that so many of the caddies travel the world. 2 from Britain are here at the moment. Angelo, of course. Many other American caddies now tour with their men to all corners of the world. Nicklaus 2 strokes ahead, putting a long putt for a 2 at the 12th. Aoki much nearer with a definite chance for a birdie. Doesn't leave him much to do with the next one. And that's another par. The final 2 holes here are both par 5s. If Nicklaus can stay 2 strokes ahead, it's a nice feeling to have those par 5s coming up at 17th and 18th. Tom Watson. Second shot to the 13th. And that's better, Thomas. Keith Fergus. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from him over the years ahead. Just watch this nice, easy, slow swing, but immensely powerful. Kept his rhythm going very well all day. And again, splits the fairway. Fine shot. Beautiful shot. And in the ideal position to get at the flag. Now Aoki at the 12th, putting for a 2. That's how they stand. Another one. Burns the edge of the hole, doesn't drop. Remains 4 under par. Just places the ball back again, just to settle his nerves. Just tap this one out of the way. This counts just as much as a mighty drive or a brilliant chip or a long 1-iron off a downhill sloping lie, so take care. Par 3 for Aoki. Remains at 4 under. Par here, 70. Now Jack Nicklaus for his par. Nice 3. And just 6 holes to go. With Nicklaus 2 strokes ahead of Keith Fergus and Aoki, Lon Hinkle and Tom Watson just a stroke and 2 further away. Here's Lon Hinkle, this immensely powerful hitter, on the 14th. With a very holeable putt. And again, a putt slides away. And the gods of golf are doing their best to keep Jack Nicklaus in the lead. They're just pushing those balls out of the hole. 13th now, this 393-yard par 4. Nice looking hole. Trees on the right though, and there's a little stream on the right. Just only 2 or 3 feet wide, but it just winds its way down the right hand side. There you see on our model, the bunker on the left, big trees on the right. Fairly flat hole. But again, great criteria put on a good drive.
Perfect drive, David. Beautiful drive and tremendously long. I tell you, that is really a long drive here today.
And that's what he's going to be faced with. Second shot up to the green with the flag just on the right half. Watson got his par at the 14th. Now back to Aoki.
A little left, cutting just in the left edge of the fairway.
Yes, looks to be in good shape to hit his second up onto that 13th green. Ahead there's Keith Fergus on the 15th.
Peter, just a little human interest story here. His wife Cindy has to leave the golf course at this hole to pick up their son at the nursery before it closes at 5:30. And she said, what am I going to do? This may be the greatest moment in his life and I won't see it.
Indeed. Well, let's see what he can do here with his second shot at the 15th. Elevated green, big green, large target. This boy's played so smoothly all day. And another one, well, didn't really threaten the flag too much, but, well, an outside chance for a birdie for Fergus at the 15th.
Well, there's the way they stand as Mrs. Fergus prepares to go to the nursery. We are going to have a message from the United States Golf Association about their associate program from a man named Arnold Palmer. Back at the Open, Tom Watson, 4 behind the leader, as you see, teeing off on the 15th hole, a par 4. 430 yards long.
Probably a little into the wind if it's blowing
all right, John?
as it is here.
There it is. There it is. That's fine. Hinkle has already, however, put his tee shot into the right rough, playing with Watson. The wind is up. The temperature is dropping. They tell us now there is a strong chance of showers, possible thunder showers, at 6 o'clock, which is 45 minutes from now. So, in addition to battling each other and the golf course, they may yet have to battle the elements. We certainly hope not. Here's Aoki, 2 behind, tied for second with Keith Fergus, playing with Nicklaus.
Beautiful shot here.
Oh, yes. There it is.
Oh,
right up.
Checked up a little quick on him, Rossi. Good shot.
Mike Reed came in with a fine 69 today after earlier rounds of 69, 67, and 75 yesterday. That's the one that killed him for even par 280. And if you're wondering what's happened to Lee Trevino, Lee started at 1 under. He's now 2 over for the tournament, or 3 over for the day. Craig Stadler, who also started at 1 under, is now 5 over for the tournament, 6 over for the day. Here's the leader.
This is the big shot here for Jack. This is where he could really put him away, I think, if he could knock it stiff here. And he really has kind of an easy shot into the wind, pitch of about 90 yards. Good looking shot right on the flag.
Oh, beautiful. Drawing back on him, though, just to the edge of the green.
Too much spin. If you can get too much spin. A little unlucky there, Ross. Both those shots really stop very quickly, just when you think the greens are getting a little firmer.
Well, it's going into the wind, David, and you can really stop the ball. These fairways are so good that as firm as the greens are, you can still stop the ball well, though.
So Jack Nicklaus, in his quest at age 40 for that 4th U.S. Open, still has a 2-stroke lead over Fergus and Aoki of Japan. Then Lon Hinkle, then Tom Watson. Watson will have to get going very quickly if he's going to get it back into the fight. Again, you can see how the breeze is blowing up here at the 18th hole, where the crowd has already begun to gather. The majority of them still out on the golf course. The attendance today, 27,029. There's a look at some of them in the grandstand in front of the clubhouse, the members under those umbrellas on the members' terrace. Others looking out the windows of the clubhouse. There are hospitality tents where people are gathered around television sets by the hundreds. Fergus for the birdie on 15. It would move him to within a stroke of the lead.
It's about as far as he's been from the hole all day, Jim. He has just played marvelously well. But that's the part of his game that a lot of the players say, if you can find a weakness when you're out there 4 under par and tied for second in a U.S. Open, it's that he may not putt quite as well as some of the other players. But he is very, very solid with his swing and the way he goes about it.
I remember 5 years ago when he lost to Fred Ridley in the final of the U.S. Amateur. You and I were there televising it, and you said even though he lost, you saw great promise in this young man from the University of Houston.
Yes, sir. He's a very fine player. Nice young man.
Fergus still at 4 under par for the tournament, and even par for the day. Steady as can be, but he's 2 behind Jack Nicklaus. 15 in the foreground where you just saw Fergus. That's 13 in the background where Nicklaus is playing. And you see the 2 large galleries. Of course, the larger one is with Nicklaus, the leader, and Isao Aoki of Japan. His wife, Chia, is in the gallery today. They were married just this spring in April. Barbara Nicklaus normally is in the gallery. I don't know for a fact that she's there today.
I haven't seen Barbara this week. Could be here, though.
She's here. She's here, but I don't want to swear she's in the gallery. They have one of the kids with them. I forget which one. This man has finished in the top 10 in the U.S. Open 14 times. You like that?
Well, I know he does. That's a pretty strong little stat. A lot of people don't play in the U.S. Open 14 times. Most people don't.
Angelo pulling the flag.
What a great putt. What a great putt. It may not have gone in, Jack, but you cannot do much better without it going in.
Okay, now Keith Fergus up ahead on the 16th tee, par 3 hole. Jack tapped in for the par to maintain his 2-stroke lead. He's getting closer and closer to the title, but far from over.
Right on it.
Fergus, look at
Boy, what a great swing. They're playing the lower tee here today, Jim. It's playing 185. When they put, again, like as they do at the 4th hole, when they put the flag in the front part of the green, they'll play the short tee, which
Now,
makes it a little bit different, but a good hole.
Tom Watson on 15, second shot.
How's that look, John?
Stand here. Good. Stand here. Get up there.
Ooh, it looks good now.
Shot. Oh, yes.
Watson is 2 under par. He's 4 shots out of the lead. He's got to get a string of birdies going. Aoki. And the hand-to-hand struggle between Nicklaus and Aoki continues. Remember, they have played together every day. People play together for the first 2 days of the Open. You have the same 2 other players you play with. They play in groups of 3. Here's Hinkle now. His second shot from fairly heavy rough.
So much will depend on his lie here, Jim, as to what he can do with it. Can't see the ball. Looks like it's down some.
You see it, John? There it is.
Just
in
the right
the bunker,
hand
so
bunker,
Lon Hinkle
there.
can't afford that. He's 3 shots out of the lead. Now Aoki.
As soon as he started walking, you see a player start walking, you know that they know they've missed the putt.
I think maybe I ought to adopt his putting style with the toe up in the air.
I fully expect you to be at Aspetuck tomorrow morning trying that heel on the ground.
No more Aspetuck. We changed the names. The Connecticut Golf Club. Now.
My goodness.
Yes.
Moving up.
If you will. Now Hinkle, third shot.
Good shot. Again. His putt's a little downhill. Watson's is a little uphill. Of course, of the two, you'd rather have the one that's a little uphill. You can be a little bolder with it.
There's a look at the 14th hole.
Great driving hole, Jim. The bunkers that you see on the left front part of your screen, lower part, those are the ones you have to drive over, and you can't see the fairway. So you're all, most of the time, you're a little unsure as to what your line is. Hole with a big drive that you feel like you can have a very good opportunity for birdie, as you could at 13. Then after that, we've got some very hard finishing holes.
There's Jack's shot. I don't know about you, Dave, but all day long there's been this underlying feeling of tension. Now I can begin to feel the emotion starting to come to the surface, of me at any rate, because we're approaching those closing holes. 2 par 5s to finish up. And this man birdied both of them yesterday. We'll remember that.
One of them, he performed a little miracle on number 17 to get that birdie.
Okay. Bob?
Looks like it's
well,
left.
It looks like it started left. I don't know if it's cut. No, it's in the trees.
Oh.
Well, how about that? Hit the 4 caddy and jumped out of the high rough into the short rough. Pretty good break, but almost impossible to get the ball close to the hole from there.
Leprechauns of the fairways are really at work today. There's how they are.
Aoki's second shot. So the 14th, and it was a strange looking one, but it's going to be on the green just. A long way from the hole. Jack Nicklaus still 2 strokes ahead of Keith Fergus and Aoki, and here's Nicklaus from the ideal position, second shot.
Pretty well pushed, actually. Not what he wanted, but not bad. You know, 20 feet to the right of the hole.
It looks pretty good from here, I must say. Nicklaus with a chance for a 3. Very much a chance for a 3. He's hardly holed any putts today, Nicklaus. Now the 17th. This monster par 5.
Well, it really has to happen here for him because, as you know, Peter, he missed that very short putt. Would have put him just a stroke away. And he pushed it over to the right. It's still in the fairway.
Just on the fairway for Keith Fergus. 17th, 630-yard hole. This, in fact, was the putt that Fergus had for a 2 at the 16th after that super tee shot. And he just rolled it quietly to the left edge, and it stayed right there.
Played it to the left edge of the hole, and that's where it was.
So that was Fergus missing a very holeable putt at the 16th, getting his par,
That just cost him the open.
remaining 4 under.
He's gonna birdie.
Of course, that sets up with consecutive par 5s at the finish, Peter. I would think a 2-stroke lead is not a sure thing at all.
Oh no, but it's a nice thing to have those par 5s, providing you can get your tee shots away. There's some other scores. Bruce Devlin from Australia. Many of his supporters down under will be pleased to see him going well, having a good championship. Another fine view. That's the 18th green there. Former champion just playing up there, Hubert Green. Hubert Green had a magical 65 yesterday after 2 rounds of 73. Just managed to qualify, but now 8 over par. Plays up, and what a beauty, what a beauty. That's his 3rd shot. Just see the pace in those greens.
The committee has done its best to set things up as they were 13 years ago, Peter. That hole on 18 is where it was in 1967 on the 4th round.
There's the leaderboard, and here's Aoki. Long, long putt, 14th. Aoki's kept going very well. He hasn't. We haven't seen many putts hold today. There's this amazing putting style. Wristy flick. And good line, but a bit to do. He hasn't been getting them up and in today. Just been a little bit put off by the pace, or perhaps a little bit edgy and nervy, but it hasn't been working for him today. But he's still there. He's only 2 behind Nicklaus. It's 4 under par, but Jack placing his ball back again, and you can see he has, well, a very holeable one for a 3. Hinkle got his par at the 16th. I'm sure Jack will give this every ounce of concentration that he has. This putt for a 3. Birdie 3. This to go 7 under par. Well, it was a little bit tentative, I suppose one has to say that. Wasn't really running at the hole, but only 2 strokes ahead and in sight of so many wondrous records, it's really hardly surprising. Tom Watson putting for a birdie 2 at the 16th. And getting there. At last, Watson holds a putt. Well, if he could finish with 2 fours at the final 2 par 5 holes, well, who knows? Aoki has this for his par 4. '17th. Keith Fergus. 2nd shot you play from the tee to an island fairway, then over some rough and bunkers to another island fairway.
Couldn't be nicer.
Right then, that maybe in that little area. What's that, Frank Hannigan?
That's ground under repair, probably caused by a little wet area from a leaky sprinkler head. He can drop the ball from there if he chooses to do so.
Back to Aoki, struggling for his par 4 at the 14th hole. Yes, good putt. Very courageous putt from Aoki. Puffs out his cheeks and moves away, and just a few holes left in this year's United States Open.
Jack Nicklaus within 4 holes of victory in the 1980 U.S. Open. It's drying out. It's been a long and a hot afternoon. It's humid. They're still telling us we could get thunderstorms within a half an hour or so. We have seen no sign of it in the skies around of us at this point, we should say. Nicklaus 2 strokes ahead of Keith Fergus and Isao Aoki. 3 ahead now of Tom Watson, who just picked up a birdie, and here's the hole he faces.
Well, it should be, if the wind is the same out there as it is here at 18, Jim, it's going to be a little against the wind, and those 2 fairway bunkers are definitely in play. Rough on each side. It's a hole where yesterday Jack got a good break on a drive that he didn't hit very well and put the ball on the green and then 3-putted, so he got his bogey anyhow. But the pressure will make you dry out a little. I'm not surprised that he's getting a little refreshment there before he plays the hole.
Boy, he likes it, David.
If it's in the fairway, he ought to like it.
I'll tell you, it's not only in the fairway, but it's long. It's right at the front part of the second bunker, that bunker on the right. And I'll tell you, that's a tremendous drive.
Oh, but if you paced it off, would be within a pace of the center of the fairway, too.
That is very true.
Aoki now, 2 strokes behind. He's got to get that putter working with the magic it had the first 3 days if he's going to catch Nicklaus.
He's gone the other way, left to right, but played a good drive. It's only about 40 yards short of Jack's.
40 yards?
I'll tell you, Jack really hit a big drive here. I watched Watson and Hinkle come through here, and Watson drove about where Aoki did, and Hinkle, who is tremendously long, wasn't much further. Jack is just really unloaded. He's only got maybe 150 yards into this hole.
There's the relationship between the 2 balls. Jack Nicklaus within shot now of winning his 4th Open to join Willie Anderson, Bobby Jones, and Ben Hogan. Only 2 men have ever won a total of 7 U.S. and British Opens, as we watch Keith Fergus. Those 2 men having been Harry Barden, who invented the grip you play golf with, probably. The hand grip on the club. And Bobby Jones. Well, if Jack wins today, he'll have 7, 3 British Opens and 4 U.S. Opens.
Not a bad record for a young man from Columbus.
No. Fergus now on 17, the longest par 5 in the history of the U.S. Open, 630 yards.
Choose to drop, Jim. He got the free drop.
He did get the free drop.
You can see it dropped it back there. You see a little graphic of the 17th, but this is should be a short shot here, Bill. What's he got, about a wedge?
Nothing more than
100
that.
yards or so?
Diabolical pin placement, I might add.
Downwind, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. He's got a lot of sand between him and the green.
Sounded like a little fat.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well,
didn't
no
sound
sooner
crisp.
mention the sand, and there it is.
That's the first shot he's hit today that would be a little questionable about hitting it strong enough. That, no matter what Keith does the rest of the day or how he finishes or whatever, he should feel proud of his play today. Now, a lot of good things did not happen to him. He just played well, and nothing happened as far as getting the ball in the hole.
It's not actually.
Now, Tom Watson down the 17th fairway. He's just had a birdie. He's 3 under par. He's 3 off the lead. He almost has to birdie 17 and 18. Okay, his second shot, just fine.
He gets that total on the board, Jim. 2 more birdies, 275, which would tie the record now held by Lee Trevino and Jack Nicklaus. That's something to do. Get that score up there and let the other guys shoot at it.
Hinkle is also 3 under. He's tied with Watson, remember. Puts his 215 pounds behind it. Didn't seem to like it. John?
No, I think he might have hit a little heavy, Jim, but it's right, right where he wants it.
Yeah.
Pitch it.
Okay. You see Keith Fergus up ahead looking down into the bunker. It could be possibly buried into the high grass, but I think it's in the bunker. Here's Aoki. Tied for second with Fergus. Who's in trouble.
Boy, what a beautiful shot he has played. I'll tell you, it went over the green. That's the 3rd day in a row he's knocked it over the green. It's just amazing, but it was such a pretty looking shot in the air.
Now back to Fergus in the bunker. This is his 4th shot. Can't afford a bogey here. Now you can see how close the pin was, so he was playing a little too cozy perhaps there.
Yeah, I thought he caught it just a little heavy, Jim. The sound wasn't as crisp as it generally is on a good shot.
There it is. It's going to be a tough
shot. Not a bad shot, though, from where he was. Looked like he made, I'm sure the ball plugged there. He had to have a little bit of an awkward lie.
Now Nicklaus with his second shot after a tremendous effort from the tee.
That's how he looks at it. Pin cut to the right. Looks left. Looked like it started left, Rossi.
It is pretty well left. It's going to catch the green, though, David.
Okay. Safely on
left
once
back.
Again. Yep. Safely on once again is Jack Nicklaus.
It's not terrible, is it?
Certainly not terrible.
Not at all, Peter. In fact, very good. The effort of Jack Nicklaus today to win his 4th Open. You can see it's kind of hazy. You can see the humidity in the air almost. The hills and trees in back looking bluish instead of the crisp green that they've looked all week. Nicklaus by 2 over Aoki and over Fergus, who's got a problem on 17. Some of the other leaders, Lee Trevino, couldn't do it today. 3 over par, 2 over for the tournament. A broad view of Baltusrol with its many bunkers. You don't see the stream, but that wanders all over this golf course and causes subtle problems, ones you don't expect from time to time. There are a lot of trees. It's your typical inland or parkland kind of course, as opposed to the seaside links that we'll be seeing in the British Open in a few weeks. 2 weeks from now, by the way. Well, let's watch Fergus. U.S. Men's Seniors Open, I was going to say, that's all.
At the winged foot.
Mm-hmm.
Very important putt, Keith, to stay 4 under and just 2 shots back. Can reach 18 today. Oh! He just hasn't made anything.
Nope, he cannot make anything.
Just nothing.
So that'll be a bogey 6. He taps that in, which will drop him to 3 under par for the tournament and a tie with Watson and Hinkle, 1 behind Aoki and 3 behind Jack Nicklaus. Lee Trevino has finished with a round of 74. He bogeyed the last hole. A total of 283, or 3 over par. He'd started the day at 1 under.
That's exactly what he shot in 1967. He hadn't improved at all, has he?
That's right. Mark Hayes.
And there's a man who's had a bad day putting, too.
Yes, he certainly has.
Hasn't had anything good, even almost dropped his putter there. This is...
Started the day 4 under, is now even. Now Fergus needing this for the bogey 6. And with everything breaking away from the mountain, you have to make sure, all of them, a little bit extra.
Even the smallest putt can have a subtle little break.
Yeah.
If you happen to start it just a little bit offline and you're not really paying attention to your business, you could miss it.
Okay, he did not, however. And they'll move on to the 18th hole, 3 under par for the tournament, 1 over for the day. That's the first real mistake that Fergus has made all day, was his 3rd shot on that hole. Now, Aoki, who had a fine second shot, but ran a little too far through the green. Well, he knocked in one not dissimilar from this for a birdie not too long ago.
You can tell he must be a pretty good chipper of the ball. When you start plumb bobbing your chips, you're kind of expected to make them.
That's right. Imagine.
That's a good attitude, by the way.
Okay. People watching around the world, live in Great Britain right now, and in Australia, soon to be live in Japan for the final holes.
Ooh, nice. Nicely done.
Yeah. Aoki, who 2 years ago won more money playing golf than anybody in the world. That's right, more than Tom Watson, more than anybody. Hinkle now with his 3rd shot on the 630-yard 17th.
We haven't said so much about him, but if he could get 2 birdies the last couple of holes and be in there with 675.
Took a good dive.
Did hurry just enough, John. Yes. And there you see Ron Hinkle.
Nearly 2 holes behind Watson and Aoki.
Are they?
17th,
They are behind, are they, Peter? 2 holes behind? Okay. Here's Nicklaus. This for a birdie.
Just want to get this close, though, Jim. This birdie is not, of course, something you like to have, but yesterday he had 3 putted this green with about the same sort of putt, same length. Just get it up there where you can look at this.
A little fast.
It's still good, though.
Oh, yeah.
Good putt.
Yep. So,
18th tee.
18th tee. Another par 5, the final par 5, 542 yards long. Keith Fergus.
Boy, has he played well.
You can say it again, an exclamation point, Dave, except for that one little lapse.
Another fine tee shot by Keith Fergus.
Well, I know he's disappointed walking down there, Bill, with with a great chance to win. He still has a chance to win. Just make a birdie here, but he's going to feel proud about his finish here when he looks back on it.
Back to the leaders, and they are the leaders now. Nicklaus first, Aoki second by himself. He's not tied with anybody now.
Now, earlier you talked about match play, Jim, and here we are. You get down to it in a way, the last few holes. Very important for Aoki to make this putt and make Jack have to make his. Of course, he has to make it anyhow, but just a little added pressure for you. Get
That's right.
you another little beverage at the next tee so you can keep talking.
So what we have here is the greatest player of his time against a man most people agree is the greatest match player of this moment. This man here, Aoki, winner of the World Match Play Championship 2 years ago, runner-up last year, and you have them literally head-to-head now over these last holes as number 1 and 2 people in the tournament. Now, of course, somebody could catch him again.
Runner-up to Bill Rogers.
Last year.
From Texarkana, right.
Okay, he's made his par. Those of you watching around the world, if you wonder where Texarkana is, it's on the border, as you'd guess, between Texas and Arkansas. Right? Big putt for Hinkle for a birdie on 17 that would tie him with Aoki.
He certainly do.
Hinkle started the day 5 under, now 3 under, or 2 over on today's round. 3 behind Nicklaus. Nicklaus, remember, still has those 2 big long ones to negotiate. You can look on that as a problem or as an opportunity for birdies. It can go either way. Big par putt. All right.
Right in the heart.
3 holes to go to put himself in the record books yet again in another way. Tom Watson has not won the Open. He's on 17. Putting for a birdie, however. Well, so he has only one more opportunity for a birdie or for a possible eagle. There have been eagles in this tournament on the 18th hole, and they're downwind today.
Yeah, and a player that hits the ball as far as Tom and can reach the green easily. Say easily with 2 good shots. 2 of his best shots will get there.
Watson finished birdie eagle the day before yesterday. Had 4 birdies in a row in the back 9 yesterday. He's not been able to mount that kind of a charge today. Hinkle in for the par 5 that keeps him, along with Watson, at 3 under, and also along with Keith Fergus. Those 3 tied for 3rd place behind Nicklaus and Aoki. So they move along. At Baltusrol, still no sign of the promised thunder showers, the possible promised thunder showers. Looks at this point like we're going to make it. 10 minutes to 6 here in the eastern part of the United States. Now Fergus with his 2nd shot after a big tee shot. Trail.
From that point, Jim, he's about 235. You're shooting up the hill a little bit, and he can reach the green with a good shot.
And he won't hold back, Dave.
Oh, well, I'm sure he's not going to hold back, Bill. If he ever took a run at it, now is the time.
Slight downhill lie.
Started a little bit his left.
Started left.
That's where it is.
Get a good kick off that. And he did, but I thought it may kick a little more to the right than it did. A good shot, though.
Yep.
Hit a ball that hard. It's your accuracy is not maybe as good as you'd like it to be.
Hit that a good 240. Now Nicklaus on the 16th tee. This is the last par 3 being played up 165 yards today. Is a 2-stroke lead.
Hit on ball. Hit on ball.
There it is on the green.
Good shot. Really a good shot. Boy, he's played well today, too, Jim.
I'm sure the last thing on Jack's mind, really, is the extra $50,000 he can win from a golf magazine. It has nothing to do with the official money here. If he finishes with an even par round of 70 today to break the Open record by a stroke, he is on that pace right now. There's $55,000 first prize money in the Open itself. Aoki.
Look at this shot.
And there you see that one. Too. Each with a chance for a birdie. We're going to take a break, but we'll be back.
There's Keith Fergus on the 18th green, the 72nd hole of this year's United States Open Golf Championship. Fergus at 3 under par, 3 strokes behind Jack Nicklaus. There's the majestic clubhouse and the thousands gathered round looking at the 18th green. Watson, Fergus and Hinkle all 3 under. There's Fergus, who's hit the ball very well all day. Hasn't holed a putt. This is his 3rd shot on this 5-par 18th hole. It's a little one just from the rough on the very edge of the green. And what a little gem. Oh. Well, that was a great shot. Now, back to the 16th. Jack Nicklaus putting for a 2. It's not turning. But that's very sweet and very smooth, right to the hole side. Jack pops it in. Another par. He remains 6 under, and the strain beginning to show on that Nordic face. And why not? It's been a hard, long battle, and golf is a rather pedestrian game, and you get all sorts of thoughts washing in and out of your mind. The concentration has to be long and enormous. The strain telling Aoki, looking at the grass, looking to see, gathering his thoughts. Trying to gain maximum concentration for the job in hand. He's holed a couple of testing 6 and 7 foot putts today, Aoki, but we haven't seen any of those long monsters rattling into the hole, such as we've seen over the first 3 days of this great event. Back to the 18th, Mark Hayes, who was going along very well before today, but a rather unhappy time. That's in for a par for him. Lee Trevino home in 40 for around a 74. Very disappointing end for Trevino. Now back to Aoki. For a 2 at the 16th, and again. Fergus for his birdie at the 18th. Yeah, well done. Good 4 to finish with for Keith Fergus. Fine championship for him. 4 under par. Round of 70. It's 2.76. And a little bit of disappointment showing on his face because he knows how near he is. Aoki knocked his in. Here's Watson at the 18th, having missed the fairway yet again.
3 wood, Peter.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Oh, it is a marvelous stroke from out of the rough. Huge blow from Tom Watson, just as you see, off the back of the green. Tremendous shot. How far was that, John Schroeder?
Hinkle's hitting a 3-iron.
How far was that shot, you reckon, that Watson hit there? That was a mighty blow.
Well, he had 230 to the front and 250 to the flag.
250 yards. My word. Well, he's over the greens. That's a tremendous hit. Now, Hinkle, this huge hitter.
3-iron, about 215 to the front edge. Backing off. The crowd's a little excited after that shot Watson hit.
Back to the 17th. Jack Nicklaus' tee shot. 2 par 5s to finish with. Nicklaus 2 ahead. Plumb center. That's knocked a bit off this hole, which measures 630 yards.
He's hit every drive purely on this back nine, Peter, under this pressure.
Yes, one thing yesterday, Frank, in the middle or towards the middle of his round, he had a few wayward tee shots, Jack Nicklaus, yesterday, but not today. Here's Aoki.
That's another good-looking drive. Again, maybe 50 yards behind Jack this time.
On this 17th hole, as we say, you play to sort of 2 island fairways. As we take a look at Lon Hinkle's second shot with a 3-iron to the 18th green. And yes, sir. Well, that's a tremendous shot. Just pitched on the edge of the green, and he has a putt for an eagle 3. And what excitement there is still left in store in this year's Open Championship.
We're back again. We've had the tension all day. Soon the high drama begins. Here's Aoki now. Second shot on the 630-yard 17th hole. The longest hole in the history of the U.S. Open.
Looks fine. Looks perfect.
Yep, just where he'd want to be.
A lot easier than yesterday, where he had a lot of trouble first 3 or 4 shots.
Okay, Aoki playing with Nicklaus. Nicklaus with a 2-stroke lead over Aoki and Keith Fergus, who just birdied the 18th hole. Here is Jack after a tremendous tee shot with his second. Looking at him from straight down. That's an unusual angles to tell us anything about the swing.
I think it could help you a lot looking at that. Yeah. Rossi?
Well, it's perfect. It's you didn't see him with that wood, though, I'll tell you that. That looked like maybe a 4 or 5 iron.
You remember yesterday, do you? And I'm sure he did, too. Or he didn't need that much, really. You're still going to have a wedge to the green, right, on your third shot?
Now, this was just about 35 seconds ago. Tom Watson on 18 had put his second shot on the par 5 hole over the green. This for the eagle that would move him from 3 under to 5 under and 1 shot out of the lead. With a chance. Fine effort. Wouldn't quite break enough. Coming down off the mountain, you would have thought it might have broken a little
Same
more.
as Keith Fergus. That ball tends to stay straight there for some reason. It doesn't break as much as the players are playing it.
Now, Lon Hinkle, who has a much more realistic chance for an eagle, putting uphill. He's on the green, not too far from the hole.
And a funny thing, Jim, he has not made a birdie all day. He's made 2 bogeys. He's 2 over par for the day. And for Lon Hinkle, that is a bad day not to make any birdies. He generally makes a lot of them. But this is an eagle putt and could really help him. It's hard enough.
No.
Oh, just stayed out there.
Now, if he makes that for a birdie, he will move to 4 under in a tie with Aoki and Fergus. But remember, Aoki still has 2 chances for birdies in 17 and 18. And he made both of those yesterday.
And picked up 2 shots on Jack.
Yeah. And he's 2 strokes behind Jack now. Big man born in Flint, Michigan, now living in Dallas. Gets down with a birdie on the 18th hole. One after another, they're coming in with birdies. Not the eagles that it appears, at any rate, that they needed to have a chance to tie. So he finishes 4 under for the tournament, does Lon Hinkle. 1 over on today's round.
276, Jim. That's the 3rd best score ever shot in Open history. That's ties what Hogan shot, Fergus shot, and now Tom Watson just shot.
That's right. Tom Watson also with a birdie going to 4 under par. As Dave said, there are 3 men, only 1 stroke off the Open record, and it appears that none of them are even going to tie for the title. Should there be a tie, there will be an 18-hole playoff tomorrow. There's Bill Fleming getting ready for any interviews we might have a chance to do. Here's Aoki with Nicklaus, with all that sand between him. Let's go, in fact, to Bill Fleming right now.
I'm with Keith Fergus right now, Jim, and he has an opportunity, I guess, to at least unbend a little bit and explain exactly what happened at 17.
Well, I just, I took a drop. I knocked it in the hazard and I dropped, and I walked up and I saw where the pin was, and it's a blind shot, and I thought I had the feel, but evidently I didn't, because when I hit it, I thought I hit it hard enough, and I got up there, I wasn't even close. So, it's one of those things that came at a bad time.
Bill, excuse me, but Aoki just hit, and we saw him, a tremendous shot, quite close to the pin on 17. If he could just hold it there with Keith for a minute. Yes. Beg his forbearance while we watch Nicklaus, the leader in the tournament, with his 3rd shot on the par 5 hole. As you see how closely that hole has been placed to the front of the green, and downwind makes it that much tougher.
Rossi, about how long a shot does he have?
He has a shot of about 80 yards, David, and all he has to do, it looks now, is to get the ball on the green. You just don't want to leave it short. That's the one thing, and I would imagine he'll pitch it by the hole, if anything.
Of course, earlier we saw Keith Fergus do just that, leave it short, and it, in the end, appears to have cost him his chance. Jack walking away, wanting to check the wind again.
Yeah, I thought I hit a pretty good shot.
Little left to right.
I hit a good chip.
Pointing out to Angelo.
Mm-hmm. Nice to have somebody with you out there you can talk to.
Oh, man, sometimes you're really looking around for a friend, Jim, let me tell you.
All right.
Very good looking shot, very high, good shot.
To the right of the flag, about 20, 25 feet, it looks like.
Well, I tell you, he didn't just go for the middle of the green. Let's go back down to Bill and Keith now.
We're just chatting here, Jim, about the round itself. Keith, you certainly can't be disappointed. You realize that in this tournament you've shot a 66 and 370s. That's remarkable, a 276. You must be very proud.
Yeah, but I played very well. I hit a lot of good shots. I didn't putt quite as well. I putted real well the first day, and then the last 3 I hadn't made the putts that I felt like I should have, and that, that's the difference.
There's one thing unique about this U.S. Open this year. They did not carry leaderboards for the first time, but they did have the standings at the end of every hole. And therefore, the players have been able to know all through the 18 holes where they stood. And at one point, you were tied for the lead.
Well, I think it was right after 9 or 10. I was 5 under, and I knew Jack was 5, and it didn't last very long. I bogeyed 10. But I played well, and I can't be disappointed.
Now, as we view the things coming up here, it's not lost, of course, because you're still just 2 strokes off. Anything could happen. So, Jim, back to you, and we'll watch here patiently.
Okay, that was Keith Fergus.
He's got to feel proud.
Nicklaus and Aoki now. And in the end, it comes down to this. The 2 men who have played together for 4 days are now having match play for the last 2 holes, and the advantage is very strongly to Nicklaus. Aoki here must gain 2 strokes. That would mean 2 birdies for him, or possibly a birdie for him, a bogey for Nicklaus. It can happen. Events coming up 2 weeks from this weekend. The first United States Golf Association Men's Senior Open Championship will be played at Winged Foot, right across the river over in Westchester County, on the East Course, where they played the Women's Open twice, not the West Course, where Hale Irwin won his championship. The Women's Open on Saturday, July 12th, Sunday, July 13th. And I don't know where you'll be next Sunday, David, but I'll be up in Toronto, North American Soccer League, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
LA at Toronto, international meeting, and an international meeting right here. Nicklaus, USA, Aoki, Japan. A very thorough plumb bob job.
Right. Thought you said that Nicklaus had the advantage. He has the advantage because he has a 2-stroke lead with Aoki there getting his touch as he did yesterday. He finished very strongly putting. He didn't make some starting out, and it seems as though he's done the same thing here again. Jack knows, you got to get it close. You want to make it, of course. You have to figure this man, 50 or 60% of the time is going to make the putt he has.
Yeah.
Feel like, well, you're going to have a one-stroke lead if I just two-putt go in the last hole, and of course anything can happen in a one-shot lead.
One thing that does not seem to have changed is, as you look at the eyes of Nicklaus, is that total concentration. 13 years ago, it was just like this. It's for a birdie. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're going to have a victory parade down 18. Of course, Aoki has yet to putt, but Jack Nicklaus, just when he needed it, seeking the 4th U.S. Open Championship, has knocked it in for a birdie. And for the first time, that broad smile broke out.
Well, it's been tough. He's been leading the tournament or tied for the lead since Thursday, and that's a lot of pressure, Jim.
Isn't that exciting?
A lot of pressure. That magazine better get that 50,000 out. I mean, if he pars 18, it's a brand new record. How about that? He set the record here in 67, and he breaks it, or looks like he might break it in 1980.
Another look at it. Even if he bogeys 18, he still breaks the record. Now.
Well, this is a little bit of what Aoki did to him yesterday. Made a long putt here.
Boy.
Look at that.
Wasn't that great, the joy in his face?
For a man that's finished, or about finished, and listen to the crowd at 18. I wonder if they'll ask him if he's going to retire after today. Just found life begins at 40, James.
Life begins at 40 for Jack Nicklaus. The marvelous thing is it obviously means just as much to him at age 40 as he did when he first played in the U.S. Open as a teenager.
Well, it's he had a chance to win not the first time I saw him, but he had a chance to win in 60 also when he holds the amateur record for the U.S. Open, too, 282.
Almost won it, just behind Arnold Palmer when Arnold Palmer won his only Open.
That's right.
Palmer, of course, lost in, 3 playoffs and
he was unlucky not to win a number of U.S. Opens.
Again, the odd position of the putter, the heel down, the toe up in the air.
He's got to make this, Jim, to have a chance, I would say.
And he did it! The man does not shake. The unflappable Mr. Aoki maintains that slim chance of tying for the Open. Should Nicklaus bogey 18 and Aoki birdie it, they would tie. Should Aoki get an eagle and Nicklaus get a par, they would tie. I said it looks like a victory parade, but it's going to be one with many security guards around the outside to make sure nothing goes wrong, figuratively speaking.
Man, it doesn't get very exciting.
Look at that.
4 Opens. Obviously, all this is if things continue the way they are to join Hogan and Jones and Anderson
within a single hole of doing it.
And we take a look at the 18th hole, dog leg to the left. Must stay away from the left-hand side there. Good driving hole from an elevated tee, and today it's playing downwind, can be reached. You've seen a number of players knock it either on the green or through the green. Yep. Then you shoot up to this 18th green.
You know, Dave, the last 3 major championships have been won by non-American players. If you think about it, the British Open last year by Ballesteros, David Graham, an Australian, although a member of the U.S. Tour and now resident in the States. An Australian won the PGA, Ballesteros won the Masters. But the flag is being carried by a rather capable representative right now.
I think they sent the main man out this week. It's really great, though, Jim, if you could just imagine to think that this could be this man's 4th U.S. Open title. All he's done for golf, all he's meant to golf.
18th major championship. This tee shot has a lot to do with it. Par 5 hole, remember, 542 yards. Bob?
Well, they like it up there. I have not spotted it yet.
A little hard to spot it against the sky.
It's perfect. I don't believe he went with the driver, though.
No,
he is pretty well back, really, but I think he probably played a 3-wood off the tee.
So Jack may be going to get on in 3. rather than trying for
Well,
the
he,
two?
in '67, he hit a bad drive here at the last hole when he was trying to sort of lay up. He said he didn't quite know what to do and had to hit a 1-iron on his third shot because he got a bad lie over in the rough, which you might get.
What credit this man deserves to play head-to-head, eye-to-eye with Jack Nicklaus, and to stay right with only 2 strokes behind. We're going to come back for the finish, and it'll be live.
While we have a moment here, I'd like to introduce Tom Watson and Lon Hinkle. Both of them played their hearts out. They didn't win it, but it was a great championship. Tom?
Well, we both shot 276, and as you said before, that was the tournament record for many, many years. Ben Hogan held it. And this week, we just have the greatest player who probably ever played the game winning the golf tournament, and it was impossible to catch him.
Lon? I'll just echo what Tom just said.
Aoki's second shot into the crowd at the 18th. Aoki, not noted for his long hitting, could not reach the green in 3. One felt that if a miracle was going to happen here, or Jack Nicklaus was going to fall completely by the wayside, he would have needed to have got an eagle 3. So Aoki in the crowd short now. Nicklaus, there you see the hole in front. He's going to play up short with an iron, one suspects. He's way back. He's a couple of strokes ahead. And what a great moment.
Pretty lofted iron, Peter. Maybe a 4, maybe a 3. And he hit it beautifully. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, fine shot, just right into the position A. It's been a great week for me to be with you for your championship. I'm very, very privileged to have been here to watch this great man.
Since a small field of 11 teed off in Newport, Rhode Island in 1895, the U.S. Golf Association has been conducting the National Championship of American Golf, the U.S. Open. Only 3 men have won the title 4 times in their careers. The first was Willie Anderson. Just after the turn of the century, he won 4 times in 5 years, then died at age 30. 4 times, Anderson won the Open, a record unchallenged until the Roaring 20s. Then, this quiet man from Atlanta, Bobby Jones, won 4 times, retired at age 28. 4 times, Jones won the Open. It wouldn't happen again until after World War II. Then another quiet man from Texas, Ben Hogan, did it, winning 3 times after his terrible automobile crash. And now comes Jack Nicklaus of Ohio, striding the fairways of Baltusrol, seeking to join the most select company in golf, those who have won the Open 4 times. He makes the great effort today at age 40, tied for the lead with 18 holes yet to play. Anderson, Jones, Hogan, and Nicklaus will walk every step of the way with Jack today, and when day is done, we'll know the answer.
So we said it at the beginning of this long afternoon, and it still applies. With just these few steps to go, Jack Nicklaus, it appears, is going to do it. A little flip under the green and 2 putts should suffice. Aoki in trouble on the golfer's right-hand side. Hit it back in the crowd, and now everyone flooding in, trying to get a look so that they can say in the future, I was there, I saw it with my own eyes. They'll talk about it, it will be written about with the feats of Bobby Jones. Jones winning his 4th Open at Interlaken in Minneapolis, with Ben Hogan winning his 4th Open at Oakmont, outside Pittsburgh, and now Nicklaus at Baltusrol. Only one man ever won the Open twice on the same golf course, and that was Willie Anderson, the first man to win 4. He won 1 Open here, but he won the 2 at Myopia in Massachusetts. Now the applause just beginning to build, because they'll cheer again when he comes up. There he is, walking up onto the green. This is not the final big roar yet, not until he puts that ball on the putting surface.
And Jim, just a little note for you, with all the history that Baltusrol has had, 6 times hosting the Open and so many things, in 1936 it was Ben Hogan's first U.S. Open here, and in 1967 he played his last U.S. Open here.
Nicklaus's name now unquestionably in the books with those of Harry Vardon and J.H. Taylor and James Braid from the old days. His name with old Tom Morris and young Tom Morris, Walter Hagen, Bobby Jones, Ben Hogan, Sam Snead, Byron Nelson. And perhaps, when all is, well, it will never be done, but maybe 100 years from now, they'll be saying still that Jack Nicklaus was the greatest of them all.
Well, when you look at the record book, see what a person's done. It's pretty hard to dispute that. You can get into some pretty hot little arguments about who's the best at whatever you want to pick out.
And now Aoki.
And he's had a great tournament, Jim. He should feel very proud. As you say, they've played 4 rounds together. This is the 72nd hole, and only 2 strokes separate the 2 men at this point.
Not too many people in the New York area even knew who Aoki was when he came here this week, but they've received him marvelously. Aoki waiting now for the crowd to settle down. They're beginning to celebrate Nicklaus's victory, and it hasn't happened yet. But by and large, they really have been extremely well behaved here.
Oh, yeah. It's just, well, when you see history being made, you know as Aoki's shot is up, and it's a good-looking shot.
Oh, is it ever? Is it ever? Look at it! Going into the hole, he saw Aoki unshakable to the end.
He had backed up a lot at that point, Jim, I want to tell you. All right.
Well, if he makes that for a birdie, Jack must make sure of his par. Win by a stroke. Here is Nicklaus's 3rd shot. Shouts of down in front. Let's just have quiet. All right. It's on the green. And look at it. Well, pulled up on him. But that should certainly be negotiable in 2 putts. But it still must be done. The crowd now going to be difficult to control, but they are coming no further than the edge of the green. Interesting, there are no gallery ropes now. They've gotten beyond all that, and yet very much as in the British Open, they're going to be so close to Jack Nicklaus, closer than I've ever seen them in the U.S. Open on the final hole.
Well, as you point out, they have been very good this week, Jim. It's just the excitement of seeing this man not only set a new Open record, possibly if he 2-putts, he could even 3-putt from there and set a new record, but to see...
Now, by the way, we talked about, that that offer from a golf magazine of $50,000 for breaking the 72-hole record. If Aoki makes this putt, he goes 6 under for the tournament, and he gets $50,000.
That's right. They pay everybody that does it.
Yep. Plus the second prize money here of $29,500, I believe it is. Yes, $29,500. We'll give him $79,500 for the weekend. Now,
it's a lot of yen.
But the sense of history really is much stronger than the sense of money here today. There they are. Some have given up. They'll not get a look. And around the world, people are looking at the television screen. In Japan now live, in Great Britain, in Australia, all over North America. It's been a year of great events. The Winter Olympics and the hockey team.
Jack did look at Aoki, Jim, when he came on the green to ask him, to kind of say, hey, would you like to putt out first? Because if I happen to make this, you may not have a chance. And he declined. I was a little surprised at that, that he didn't go ahead and putt out.
Jack now.
But if he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. He can wait to see what Jack does.
Nicklaus with... Well, that's a little match play type thing, perhaps, huh?
No, I don't. If you're doing it to the wrong man. All right.
Yes. This for the birdie.
A round of 68. Should make it, I believe. Is that right?
That's right. It would be a 68. It's done.
Made it.
It's over. He's accomplished it. The 4th U.S. Open, and now the crowd running in. And Jack saying, hold it, wait a minute. The man has to putt out here for 2nd place in the U.S. Open. Angelo is caddy, hugging him. I've never seen Jack really any happier. And now, like the king of the game that he is, he quiets his subjects. Quiets his subjects and says, and now Mr. Aoki, if you please. Aoki for a birdie, remember. That would bring him in at 6 under. Jack finishing at 8 under. Aoki will finish 2nd, even if it takes him 2 to get down.
Yeah, but a very big putt. I don't know whether he's aware of what it means. Of course, 2nd is formality at this point, unless he were to feint or something.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't give himself a good chance here, let the people give him a chance, he would be sick if he found out he missed his putt and cost him $50,000 extra.
27,000 people gathered around.
Knock it in. Get in.
And so he did for $29,500 second place money plus $50,000 for a special offer, not a part of the official prize money of the U.S. Open. And there's Jack Nicklaus. He also got $55,000 plus 50, or will get. Chuck Simpson, the general chairman there, the man with the white hair, who's done a great job. Will Nicholson, president of the USGA, the man with the sunglasses. Will Nicholson just took over this year. Sandy Tatum, the retiring president, was not here. That's kind of a custom with them to let the new man take over. Sandy, I'm sure, watching in California. There's the man, a new U.S. Open record of 272. Only 9 men have either led or been tied for the lead all the way in the U.S. Open. One of those previous winners to do it was Jack Nicklaus in 1972 at Pebble Beach. And now he's done it again with a 63 the first day, followed by a 71, a 70, and a 68 today. Now he must check the scorecard. Everybody can't wait to congratulate him, but he's got to check it.
number 1. Don't worry. He'll stay there until he makes sure he's got it absolutely right.
Had to be a New York voice that you heard saying, hey,
Tom Watson, congratulations.
Way to go, number 1. There's Watson in the blue shirt. Yeah. Angelo, the caddy.
Well, for a man that a lot of people have written off, 272 is not too bad a score. And now on to Muirfield, the golf course where he's played well before.
And we're going to be coming back here again live to wrap it up. Nicklaus wins. There's Jack Nicklaus with, is that the youngest son, right?
Certainly is,
Yeah.
And what a Father's Day gift, that Jack gave to himself.
What a Father's Day present, that's right. Gave it to himself and his family. Knowing Jack, I would think he'd probably celebrate with a quiet dinner with Barbara and young Mike, isn't it?
I think.
And maybe a couple of friends, but certainly if he wants it, he's the toast of the town. New York is his. We're 35 miles from Times Square. Listen to this, the chant, Jack, Jack, Jack. Last time we heard that was USA, USA.
That's right.
A year of great celebrations of sport. The Olympics, the Philly winning the Derby, now Jack Nicklaus winning his 4th. Isn't that great? Is that pure delight?
Well,
you said it, Dave. Life begins at 40. And there he is holding back the crowd, but it looks like he's almost...
Where's Rich? Well, people got a little excited, and I, in a way, I don't blame them there. We got a message that Jack is back. I think most people know that by now.
That's a message Jack delivered by hand.
I think that's young Michael that's here.
Mike, I think, yeah,
That's right.
Mike Nicklaus. He brings different kids on different occasions. When Mike picked one he can remember for the rest of his young life. Just checking over that score. He's just got to do it. ABC World News Tonight, Sunday, coming up very shortly here. As we wait, we remind you that our executive producer is Roone Arledge, who's been down there at the compound today. Produced by Chuck Howard. Our directors, Terry Jastro, Jim Jeanette, and Bob Goodrich. Technical directors, Wink Gunther, John Allen, Les Weiss, and Mike Blazo. Associate producers today, Ben Harvey and Amy Knox. Associate directors, Bob Lanning, Bob Hirsch, and Rob Biner. There is the scorecard that'll go into the golf history books. Perhaps one day we'll end up at Golf House in New Jersey, or maybe just in a frame in the Nicklaus household.
Well, things like that, Jim. I wonder if Jack has the other 3 for the last round.
Remember, he won here 13 years ago at Baltusrol, and he won at Pebble Beach in 1972. This is 4th Open Championship. Again, that other statistic that only 3 men now have won a total of 7 U.S. and British Opens. Harry Vardon, Bobby Jones, and Jack Nicklaus.
And you think, too, Jim, he's won 18 major championships. Most players, and I mean very good players, don't win 18 tournaments in their career. And that's really remarkable when you think about it. And an argument when you want to argue who was the best player, who is the best player of all time.
Now they're waving at the cameras, I think, the crowd there while they wait for Jack. Well, Hubert Green,
after he shot 65 yesterday and had 8 threes in a row for a new Open record, was asking the president, do you think you can catch Jack? He said, look, I'm 6 shots behind Jack Nicklaus. He said, there's no way I can do it. He said, he's won more major championships than I've won tournaments. And Hubert Green is no slouch of a golfer. He's won 16 tournaments. Jack's now won 18 majors. Lady scorer there, checking over with Aoki. Now they're chanting, Jack is back outside the scoring tent. The meticulous double check. Let's have another look at the last putt. Today, it was Nicklaus, by the way, birdieing the last 2 holes to wrap it up. Yesterday, Aoki did it to him to get into a tie. No question about it. All the way to that slight hillside lie. And then the traffic cop job on the crowd, aided by a few other uniformed assistants, and the congratulations of Angelo Arcia. They've come many miles by foot together. Then Aoki.
Can only be happy for that man, Jim.
Now they're chanting Aoki, Aoki. Not quite the right pronunciation, but it'll do. For the man who finished second.
Well,
a great scene.
Aoki is a very nice man, Jim. We didn't talk maybe so much about that aspect. I played golf with him, and not when he was the player that he is now. And certainly he should be proud, and all his countrymen should feel proud that this man shot the second best score ever shot in a U.S. Open. And unluckily, another man happened to beat that record.
Remember the old record of 275 was set here by Jack Nicklaus in '67 and equaled by Lee Trevino the next year at Oak Hill in Rochester. We'll be at Oak Hill later this summer for the PGA Championship, in fact.
Be another fine tournament. They made a couple of changes there since tournaments were there last, as we look at some of the scores.
Yep. Craig Stadler sloughed off a little bit today after a fine 69.
Pat McGowan played well. Joe Inman, good tournament for Joe. Long golf course.
Jack continues to fill up.
Well, listen, if you wouldn't have a little beverage now, not that that's anything but some sort of soft drink, but there's our man Bill.
Okay, Bill, you've got it.
Jack, this has to be the greatest moment in your life.
Bill, I'll tell you, the people here have been fantastic, and I can't believe you've
done it?
Yeah, on the back 9 I played, because I played the back 9. Well, Aoki played it stroke for stroke with me, exactly the same. We both shot 33, 3 under, and he was tough, and I knew that putt at 17 was just really a big putt because it allowed me to play 18 the way I wanted to play 18, not the way I might have to play 18. I'll tell you, I feel fantastic, Bill. It's been a long time.
Jack, the emotion here is just so deep that you have to have a catch in your throat. You have to have a tear in your eye.
I got one.
Especially when Barb and little Michael came up here. It must bring back so many memories to you, all the way back to '62 when you won the first one. The thrill is still as big.
Oh, Bill, the older you get, the more thrilling it gets because the harder it gets. I don't know. You know, I've thought an awful lot this year about not playing anymore. And, you know, after today and the way I played and great as these people were, you know, you got to keep playing.
Listen to him. Jack. You know, it's like an Ohio State football game. You've just won the Rose Bowl.
Thanks.
Now, let's talk a little bit about next year. It's Marion, and I know you even haven't had a chance to think too much about it, but will we see you at Marion?
Oh, yeah, you'll see me at Marion without question. There will be no question about that.
Jack, soak it up. It's one of the biggest moments ever in the history of golf.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.